An Odyssey sports station.
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on and leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go on this Sunday morning on DFW Sports Station, 105.3 The Fan. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres here with you for the next 4 hours. Dylan Moore back in the Pimp Cup. Happy weekend, boys.
Let's get it.
How do we do? How we feeling this weekend?
Oh, I'm feeling good, man. It's March. That's all I got to say. It is freaking March.
Hey, one of my favorite months of the year, no question about it. And boy, has it been really, really good. Top of next hour, we're going to get into some college basketball, and there's a team that recently, I wouldn't say had been written off, but they were dealt a pretty devastating blow.
Oh, I know who you're talking
if
about.
you sleep on them now, they showed you yesterday that you should do none of that. It is an exciting time. It's my favorite time of year. I feel pretty good coming off of what happened yesterday, even though they are relatively irrelevant at this point when it's looked at as Final Four teams. But it'll be fun to go through. We were doing it kind of every week. Was doing it with CA, now doing it with you, Eric, on whom I'm looking at as the best teams in college basketball. Yep. And, man, it was an exciting day yesterday. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it sure was. And unfortunately, my Aggies are kind of falling off the cliff a little bit. Hopefully, we can win the last two games, maybe try to sneak into the tournament. Selection Sunday's coming up, but it's not looking very good. But this is what it's all about. I mean, this is the time of the year where wins start to matter, conference wins especially. And, I got to watch Gonzaga and St. Mary's play last night. It was a late game. And, I feel like
was that. Yeah. I mean, St. Mary's. They just handled Gonzaga.
They did. And they always, I feel like it's like, I saw a stat. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I saw it on the broadcast. That the last time that they played at St. Mary's, I think it was like 3-2. Like it was like dead even, in terms of them splitting. So it's like, it always feels like, all right, St. Mary's going to take down Gonzaga, and then Gonzaga ends up having a better tournament run. So this is why I love college basketball.
No doubt about it. I mean, this is going to be what you want at this time of year, because you have usually a mix of youth, with freshmen, but then how big a role your upperclassmen playing? Are you playing your best basketball right now? Because you're working your way through November and December into January, because the teams are new, and it used to be with just getting your younger guys more acclimated to the system, how well are they adapting to college basketball if they're freshmen. But now, because teams are so new in general, even with upperclassmen, are you putting it together right now? And there are a few teams. I mean, look, Arizona and Michigan have been saying it all year, have been incredible.
Yeah.
Duke is playing with Arizona as the best teams in the country, but are there other teams that are starting to look like, remember them?
Yeah.
We'll talk about them coming up at 11 o'clock today. We got to start a little bit here with the Stars. I mean, damn. 8 straight now. That ties the team record. They go to Vancouver tomorrow. And Vancouver sucks, but still, they could have the franchise's best win streak. 8 in a row with a comeback win, 3-2. Jason Robertson just a little over, a minute or two in overtime. Comeback win after giving up 2 goals. Otter in goal for the first time since returning from Milan Cortina, and the Stars get the win. Yeah, baby.
Might be the hottest team in the league right now.
They are the hottest team in the league. 9 of their last 10, won 8 in a row. They're looking good. Mavericks in action tonight. And by the way, we'll take you up to 2 o'clock today. Rangers-Mariners, spring training ball from Surprise. 2 o'clock today, Jacob Lutz will be on the bump. And, of course, KNC and G-Bag will be out there in Surprise all. This is going to be a great week. It's always great when they're out there. But the Mavericks are in action tonight at the AAC against Oklahoma City. And I had this thought earlier in the week, because I'm watching the Lakers and the Suns, and that just catastrophe at the end. And last night, Lakers, they look good. But they had to have it. They got to win 129-101 over Golden State.
It was Luka's birthday. They had to show up.
Luka's birthday. He led the way with 26 points, and they didn't. The Warriors didn't have Steph. But it's really more so watching, how that unfolded in the Phoenix game. Just the atrocious defense led to a bucket by Phoenix to go up. They did get a good look late, but after being a good clutch team earlier in the season, not so much lately for the Lakers. And that's what struck me about it, that they're not a clutch team. Now, nobody expected the Lakers right now, as they are constructed, to be, really much of a threat, despite their early season success that they had. And I just came to this realization, at least for me, that, you know what? I know there's still so much anger about, the trade, a year and a month ago. I look at this in 877-881-1053. Hit us up on the Frankel Injury Attorneys fan text that, as Mavericks fans, you should feel lucky that Luka got traded away. And that may seem crazy, but the vibes I get from Luka are Carmelo Anthony, James Harden, that Luka Doncic is never going to be a champion in the NBA. He's not a championship piece. I talk about this all the time when I talk about my favorite team, right, in college basketball. The guys that I love over the years. My favorite player of all time is Tyler Ulis. He didn't win one, but he's not one of the greats, but he was such a pivotal, he was a championship player. Cason Wallace from right here. I was like, damn, you need guys that do things for you. And what they do for you is you trust them in moments. You trust them to make the right plays and to play on both sides of the ball. And I know it sucked because we all loved Luka here. And look, the trade still sucked because of the fact that they just didn't get anything in return that they should have. They should have gotten a ton more. They should have handled it differently. They should have, opened up the market at least a little bit, because they could have gotten so much more. But the fact of the matter is that the Mavericks have a championship player. That is the player that you want. You don't want Luka Doncic, because Luka Doncic is going to do nothing but aggravate you as the best player on your team moving forward. And if you are building around a player like Luka Doncic, you are never winning an NBA Finals.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up. And here's what I'm going to kind of go back to with this whole, because I said when I found out that Anthony Davis was going to have surgery on his hand, I was saying at that point, I remember I came to the conclusion saying that this is a lose-lose trade in terms of the Mavericks and the Lakers. I think both teams lost the trade because on one hand, you have, like you said, the return that they got for Luka Doncic.
Right.
Anthony Davis, never available. Phenomenal player, top 10 when he's on the court. One of the best two-way players we've ever seen. But the problem is he's never available. And your vision with Nico Harrison was defense wins championships. So you bring in AD, who's one of the best defenders in the league. Which would
be great if he played.
It's great if he played. So you already lose it in that sense because you didn't have a market for Luka, and you settle for AD, who's never available. And then on the opposing end, you lose Luka Doncic, but he goes to a team like the Lakers where they don't have athleticism. They don't have wings.
Yeah,
they don't have
got
a
problems.
big man rotation.
They got problems on defense. They got problems on, really, they need a 3-and-D guy badly.
So both teams got worse.
Right.
If both teams got worse, it's a lose-lose trade. Like, you're looking at the Lakers, and it's like, man, you got LeBron, Luka, and Reeves, where you have their three best players are obviously your three worst defenders as well.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, long-term, it doesn't look good for the Lakers. Because now you got to decide, you got to build around Luka, but you still got LeBron on the team. And so that's already a problem in itself. And then you have the Mavs who have to completely start over around Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg's going to be a phenomenal player, but Again,
you are so lucky right now to be building your franchise around Cooper Flagg than Luka Doncic.
You lucked out.
I don't care. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes.
Because at the end of these games now, going back to the whole clutch part of it with the Lakers and the reason why they're losing all these games now is because Luka is on the floor and these teams are absolutely zeroing in on him defensively.
Yep.
And it's atrocious. He's not very good. So you're basically giving up buckets every time down the floor. You can't have that. You can't get stops with him on the floor because these offenses are going to go, we're going right after Luka. You know that you're going to lose playoff games. I mean, like, you know, and I know that this was going to be, you know, part of the reaction to it. Look at the garbage team he took to the Western Conference Finals. Get off the airways with this nonsense. They were in the finals. I don't care what you say. Yeah, they didn't win.
He also has regressed.
They also got smoked.
He's also regressed tremendously since that finals.
Yeah.
He's getting worse.
It's getting, absolutely. And this was all the evidence that we saw really this week, but particularly in that Phoenix game where I'm going, look, he is one of the most gifted players offensively we've ever seen. That ain't enough. It's not enough. You can win a lot of regular season games. Defense, early part of an NBA season is just meh. It gets ratcheted up a little bit more as the season goes on, and then the NBA playoffs, it's completely different defense. Everybody's playing hard on defense. Everybody's playing better on defense. Yet, if your focal point... this is why Carmelo Anthony was never part of a championship team as the alpha player, as the one. This is why James Harden had, you know, his teams consistently lost, even though he was either winning MVPs, multiple MVPs, as to yet, you know, Luka has not yet won one. So, yeah. I get it. Everybody loved Luka here. Luka's, you know, a great player. I'm telling you right now, that is not the type of player that wins a championship.
Yeah, and I guess the only thing I have to say about it is I don't think it would have got this bad if he had never got traded. I think a part of that trade has made this all come down to this point. So I don't think Luka is incapable of turning this around or, you know, building a championship team around him in LA. I think, but again, it's like, he's getting older. He has more wear and tear on his body. And it's like at a certain point, it's like how much leeway you have here. I don't think Luka's going to be a guy that's going to be playing until he's 38, 39 years old, right? I feel like he may only be in the league, until he's 34, 33. I don't think he's going to be in the league that much longer. So I think they got to maximize this window as much as they can. And I don't know. I mean, watching Luka play on the Lakers as opposed to him playing on the Mavs, he just doesn't feel like he's home. It doesn't feel like he's in that mindset of this is my home. You know, this is that, you know, that cold-blooded killer mindset that he has. When the playoffs come on, you knew, oh my goodness, Luka Doncic, he's that dangerous dude. And yeah, look, I love the guy. He's going to go out there. He had the text line 877-881-1053. They're talking about, you know, I know they don't like this. And look, he put up 41, 8, and 8. I'm never going to say he's incapable of scoring. He's incapable of being 30, a great
10
offensive.
and 10.
He's
great.
a phenomenal scorer.
Absolutely. And I never said he's not a great player. I said he is awful defensively. And I would push back. He's a great offensive player. And you're like, James Harden doesn't, you know, hold his jock. You got to be kidding me.
James Harden is one of the best offensive players of all time. He never won a championship.
He's a 3-time scoring champ. He's an MVP. But they're the same. I mean, they're not the same type of player, but like James Harden at his best was like just an insane offensive threat.
Yes.
And Luka is an insane offensive threat.
But that's proving our point because
that's totally proving the point.
But it's proving the point because as great as James Harden was as a scorer, and everybody's talking about Luka scoring, we never diminish his ability to score. But the problem is, can that play style win you a championship when you demand that much attention? And we didn't even talk about, nobody's talking about how bad he is on defense. And Luka's never going to be a good defender. But when it comes to the point where you're complaining and against the refs the entire game and you don't get back on defense and then teams start hunting you, you become a liability.
He is an absolute liability on defense. And I mean, just take emotion out of it and look at it objectively. Like, oh, he ranks average on defense.
Yeah.
It's the regular season, too. Like I said before, he's not. If you know ball, if you watch basketball, this is completely obvious. And it occurred to me, I'm like watching it go, like, he just got absolutely destroyed. And he does. He just gets beaten off the ball. And you're going to be playing close, clutch games. He's gotten worse defensively. I'm like, how does this, unless they were, who was it? The guy that they have on ESPN, one of the former players. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He said, defense really is about, just to be an average defender is all, about effort. He doesn't really, we're into March, but through February, it still just looks really bad. Tim McMahon talked about it earlier this week on ESPN2, saying, look, he's been known as, not being very good on defense and, and being a crier. And he's crying more than ever. And as you were just saying, that also adds up to, like, when he does that, 5-on-4, that happens so much. Yeah. So much.
Yeah. And this is a good point from the 214. Luka is homesick and will never play the same in LA that he does in Dallas. I completely agree.
Well, maybe.
And that's why the trade will never make sense to me, because after that, Luka Doncic has regressed. And, you can talk to me all you want about he averages this.
Let me clear something up. I forgot what Tim was saying. Tim was saying, talked about his conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
And the crying. He's like, conditioning got better this year. Defense still not very good, but yeah. Anyway,
but and to Tim's point too, right? He came in at the beginning of the season like he was proving something. He lost the weight. It felt like he was in great shape. He was on the cover of that Body magazine. Everyone's like, "Oh, Luka's coming back for vengeance." And he started the season off really hot. He's still scoring a lot. The PRA is always going to be phenomenal with Luka because he's an amazing scorer. But as the season has progressed, look, he's getting worse on defense, and now he looks like he's putting on a little bit more weight. Like, I don't know what it is, but I agree with the 214. I don't think this would be as big of a problem if he was still in Dallas, because Dallas had a championship team with Luka. Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes were coming off the bench. Najee Marshall's like our third best player now. It's ridiculous. That Mavs team was good.
That was the best you were ever going to get with Luka Doncic. That was. And that team around him was. And got smoked by Boston. Absolutely ran out of the series.
I don't think Luka should have signed that extension with the Lakers.
Hey, it occurred to me this week. Say what you will. You've, questioned me before. I'm just saying. We're back. I thought, 4 years ago that there was no question that Luka Doncic was going to be, winning a championship with a team. No question about it. And it's 4 or 5 years later, and I'm like, yeah, that ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right. Been sitting on that for a few days.
You got us going this morning, Will Chambers.
I know. I got everybody revved up on that one. Because everybody looks at it emotionally. Take the emotion out of it and look at it objectively. If you watch the game and don't give me the defensive numbers, what are those? Watch how teams are literally targeting him late in games. They do it every single time. That should tell you everything right there. All right. Let's turn our attention to the Cowboys. News from Indy, because Bo, Jerry, and Steven were talking. There have been some restructuring of contracts, plus a notable NFL reporter says the Cowboys are on watch for this specific defensive player. We'll tell you who that is as we continue here on this Sunday morning here on 105.3 The Fan.
Take us with you.
Truck Wreck, call Frankel first, 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Looks like I've juiced up DFW.
Woo!
Stand by it. All right. Thank you, Dylan. Welcome back to this Sunday morning here on 105.3 The Fan. Your home of America's team on a busy week as the rest of the NFL did. Great work, Sean and RJ, with Bobby and Brian Broaddus, who were out in Indianapolis for the scouting combine, and Jeremy Fowler with some interesting points here, or he makes an interesting point on what the Cowboys may be doing as some news from them on the restructuring. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres here with you. Of a number of players' contracts to create the room. This is something that they alluded to. They said they were going to do, and it looks like it's happening right now to create about $66 million in space here.
I love it. I love it, man. And look, it seems like we're getting a little bit different of a vision from Jerry Jones. Maybe he's starting to get a little bit desperate. Maybe he's feeling a little bit older. Feels like the clock's running out. Regardless, I love the way that this team is setting up to be, and it doesn't matter until the draft. It doesn't matter until free agency. We're going to have to be aggressive, but this is what you want to see. You want to see players not be selfish and restructuring. Dak has already restructured his contract several times. CeeDee Lamb has now. They obviously want to try to maintain George Pickens, and so they franchise tagged him. Hopefully, he can still get a deal done by that July deadline. And so I like the way that this team is operating. I like the way this team is moving. And it feels like there is maybe a little bit of urgency from Jerry Jones this time around, Will.
Yeah, according to Adam Schefter, they're restructuring, as you put it, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, also Tyler Smith. They're also going to rework the contracts of Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams, and Osa Odigizua. We're scheduled to count around $63 million against the cap. And it makes total sense because, the Cowboys, we used to talk about this years ago. 8 years ago when I was down the street. We're like, man, kicking the can down the road. Sometimes it would come back to bite them. It doesn't do that to NFL teams anymore. Really. Mm-hmm. A year or so ago, I asked Stephen Jones about this because I was like, I didn't say it this way to him, but how are you guys not good at it and Philadelphia is so good at it? I kind of structured the question very differently, but, and he talked about, well, at some point you got to pay the piper, because I was talking about the Saquon Barkley deal and all that. And at the end of the day, they don't and CA's been talking about this for 3 years on the fact that you are getting such a much bigger jump each and every year with the salary cap.
Yeah.
Because of the revenue coming in from all the television and streaming deals. Eventually they're going to have to pay it, but it does create a lot of room this year. And Jerry Jones talked about what, his approach is going to be in this offseason.
My bad. Here we go.
All right. Thank you.
I was working on something else. What were we taking?
It's all good. You see, this is when I ask, my bad, Dylan. I asked him to do something for next hour, and then all of a sudden I'm just calling for stuff to Jerry Jones.
Anticipation.
I got you. Here we go.
Well, that's two questions. Do I see me ending up spending more money than maybe if you put a perfect picture together that the guy that's back there looking at the account would say we don't have any or don't have enough? I could see me being aggressive. I could see us being aggressive in free agency. And by the very virtue of having two number ones, we're going to spend more money in the draft than normally you would spend, even though we don't have a two. Everybody knows those 2 ones are dramatically different than a two financially. So we'll spend money. It'll be like the time that when I first got involved, they had a deal called Plan B, and that was a free agency kind of a start toward free agency, and every team had to expose so many players. And I was so proud of the fact of how much money, I think the figure was over $2 million at the time. But I was so proud of how much money I think we outspent everybody in Plan B. And I was very proud of that. You have no idea how that cut into my available funds at the time. Have no idea, but I am excited about doing everything we can now to really have a better record than we had last year, a better team than we had last year. That's why we've been doing what we've been doing with the coaching staff. But to answer your question specifically, I would bet that we will spend more money in free agency than we have.
Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you should be doing that. On the Frankel and Frankel fan text from the 214, everyone realizes Dak is not going to get better, right? He hit his peak. They have to keep great players around him, not good, great. They also have to have a defense for him to win. So restructuring is 100% needed, not wanted. I will disagree only to this part where Dak Prescott he could be, I don't know about better. I mean, he threw for 4,500 yards last year, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions.
I feel like he's in his prime right now.
Yeah.
You have like a 2-year window here, 2 to 3 year window.
I don't know. I hesitate on that because, yeah, you may not be at your athletic prime, but you're in your quarterback prime.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Matthew Stafford just won an MVP. He's damn near 40. These are the times, you've got a window with Dak, and putting to the side, too, okay, you got to do, are you going to win playoff games, all that kind of stuff, because that remains to be seen. But as far as what we're seeing as far as Dak at a skill level and understanding defenses and all the things that encompass playing the quarterback position, outstanding. And you are in that prime in your 30s because, as, Tom Brady once famously said, you know all the answers to the test. Here's the issue. Great, go out, get these free agents, all this stuff. Can you do something smart with your own players? Or if you're going out, don't overspend. The Cowboys are the only team that screws themselves over when it comes to contracts, right? Mm-hmm. Why in the world are you paying more than you should? Dak Prescott has been the highest paid quarterback for years now. That tells you right then and there that it was not that it's a bad contract, but the fact that you handled it very poorly.
Yeah.
You handled CeeDee Lamb very poorly.
You waited to the start of the season to pay him. You could have negotiated well months ago or even the year before. So it's like you wait too long, and then you wonder when things go south.
Right.
Or you can't build around the team. You don't have the assets or the money to pay for other players. And it's like, well, if you would have handled things better, maybe you would have.
Yeah, it's like the Cowboys tax. They tax themselves. Why? Are you going to handle this any better than you have in the past? Now, the fact that you have all this money, now where do you go? Jeremy Fowler of ESPN saying the Cowboys are crafting a detailed free agency plan to bolster their defense. He mentions Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean as someone to watch as a green dot player in the middle of the defense. They will monitor the top of the pass rush free agents options too. They aren't guaranteed to spend big, but I believe they will get a pass rusher at some point. Also mentioning the safeties, Arizona's Jalen Thompson makes sense according to Fowler. They need a nickel corner. Shouldn't have left Jordan Lewis go.
I wonder if they're going to try to maybe trade for Fitzpatrick still. Because that was somebody that the Dolphins were going to get rid of at the deadline. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay.
I heard Bobby talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking out loud here because, if you go in and you trade for somebody like Mika Fitzpatrick, obviously that probably means you're not going to draft a safety. Because then you take care of problem number one. Then you can focus on pass rusher, which obviously pass rusher is and linebacker are the two most biggest needs, I think. Or probably cornerback. I'd say cornerback, pass rusher, and linebacker. Those are the three biggest needs. You can rank those however you want. But, you can answer one question in free agency if you make one big splash, one big trade, one big signing. And so we'll see what they end up doing.
Yeah, okay. This is step one of the process in which, okay, great. This is what you needed to do. Now, how do you work with what you did? Because you're already paying, too much or have set yourself up structurally poorly in the past with, you're spending more money than you needed to. But if you do make some of these, you franchise tag Pickens, you held on to what was an incredible offense next year. You bring back Javonte Williams. We talked with RJ Ochoa weeks ago that said, okay, replicating what you did last year is no guarantee by just bringing everybody back. We got questions at offensive line, but you've got to feel good coming in knowing that, if Pickens is back with them because of just, what are you going to do? It's very difficult when you got two wide receivers like that with Dak Prescott playing at the level that he's playing. You'd have to feel pretty good as a Cowboys fan, I think, as we sit here right now. So all of this being really good news, at least what we heard in the Combine this week. And there was some other news as well, and we'll do that coming up next hour, where Stephen Jones was talking about possibly trading down.
Yeah.
And the Combine, I think, some standouts in it actually played a big role as to why that may come to fruition, because of some players that they were definitely targeting, hoping that would be there. Some had predicted might be there for the Cowboys to take. Had some very good Combine. Some good stuff.
That's an understatement
there.
right there, yeah.
So that could have changed a lot of things. So we'll see what Steven had to say as far as some of those picks, the one at 12 and maybe moving down later in the draft. We'll do that coming up next hour. The other news coming out of the Combine this week and the standouts, we'll talk about what is being reported. We'll do it next year on The Fan.
But first, it is time for an IndyCar update, as IndyCar is on its way to Arlington, and that is in 2 short weeks. But right now, the racers are in St. Petersburg, Florida. They're about a little over an hour away from starting. It's going to be Scott McLaughlin. He gets the pole, finishing first in the earlier races yesterday. He'll try and win it after a really rough 2025. Along with the Marcus Ericsson, the 2022 Indianapolis 500 winner, will join in the front row with him, but they will also be going against the reigning champ. He will be starting in the 4th position as this race gets going at 11 Central Time. That will be Alex Palau, the reigning champ, finishes. He's a 4-time IndyCar Series winner. He will try to defend his 2025 St. Petersburg victory in the 4th spot. The Arlington Open, we'll cover that in the next hour or so. I will have another update for you. That will be March 13th through the 15th.
Hey, Tolo, Sean, and RJ here with the greatness of Underdog Fantasy. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties, they are back. Underdog is the best place in Texas to get in on all the action because you can make picks and win money right now.
Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. #1 Chevy dealership in the world, 3 years straight. They've got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Relax and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 through 2025.
The best performances by men in their underwear. Good Sunday morning here. It's Will Chambers, Eric Caceres with Dylan Moore on this Sunday morning here on 105.3 The Fan, YouTube, Twitch, and 105.3thefan.com. How much combine did you boys take in?
Probably too much. No, I'm kidding. There's never too much NFL combine. It was fun, though.
There's never too much. Huh?
It was fun just sitting down, relaxing, and watching these prospects, man, put a name for themselves and see how emotional they were. I don't know if you saw Mike Washington, but when he ran the 4.33 and led all running backs or the combine, he was emotional afterwards. And I like seeing stuff like that because people work hard, man, and people go through injuries. There were some standout people that I'll get to here in a second that struggled with injuries in the 2025 season, able to be out there healthy, run, put some combine records out there. Love it.
Yeah, the running backs, you had some that stood out. But you also had, not very many that had, blistering speeds. So the ones that did really stood out. 6 foot, 223 pounds, Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas, 4.33. And it is vertical, 39 inches, which is high, and 10 foot 8 in the broad. That's a broad jump of just going up and snatching $1 off the top of the backboard and leaving change. Dylan, do you get locked in for these?
I look around. I mean, I saw some crazy quarterback times. How about Taylon Green?
Yeah, oh my goodness.
A 4.36?
Yeah.
As a quarterback.
Jalen Miller also 4.37. I'm sure you know the one quarterback to run faster in the combine history, Michael Vick.
All right.
That's it.
Anthony Richardson.
4.43.
I know. I am so skeptical, and I don't believe this, when it comes to Green. Because, and I'll be honest, I didn't watch him as much. This past year with the job that I had taken, working on Saturdays, I was able to take in some college football, but just not as much as I was, the years prior. And so I didn't see a whole lot of Taylon Green. I had seen a whole lot of Anthony Richardson during his time, and I'm just like, and again, this is all coming up with him on where could he go, what would be the best case scenario, and it exhausts me to hear how much talent he has, and I'm like, no, he does not. He has a tremendous amount of athleticism. He does not have talent. He is an incredible athlete that his entire life he's been thrusted into the quarterback position, and he's not good at it. He just has a strong arm.
What do you think of the project, I guess, term that people like to throw out there? Because there's a difference. I agree with you. There's a difference between talent and just freak athleticism. And he's a freak athlete. Right, like one of the fastest, craziest quarterbacks we've seen in terms of, he's like Lamar and Cam Newton in terms of athleticism, but doesn't really have the experience throwing the football. And so what do you think make it of people saying, well, he's a project? Like, he'll eventually come to be that
So is Trey Lance. So is, Joe Milton. I feel a little bit better about Joe Milton than I would on the prior two, but, on being a project, what does that mean? How many? I wonder if Anthony Richardson works with Jordan Palmer. Does he? Because that's, and I'm sure there's other, quote unquote quarterback schools, that are there for, these players too. But I think Jordan Palmer is probably the most successful, with the quarterbacks that he's had. I don't know. Does he work with Jordan? Does he do that to try to become a better thrower of the football? We talked about it a lot this year when it comes to guys. Some guys are, kind of raw throwing the ball or just how they have to approach playing quarterback in the NFL, not just upstairs mentally, but also mechanically. We talked a lot about it this year with Caleb Williams. that talk about like, oh, he's not very accurate. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. He's actually very accurate. He can throw it inaccurately when he doesn't have his feet set. When he's not doing the right things. And, you could talk about it with a number of young quarterbacks coming out, and those things vastly improved. But he's so all over the board. He just doesn't look like a quarterback throwing the ball. He just looks like somebody that's got a hot arm. That's it.
Yeah.
That can run and jump and do all those things. So how much is he working on, that stuff? Because you can't just be going to Kevin O'Connell, right? Kevin is going to help you with some of that, and then with also his system and, applying his system, against defenses. But you need an offseason of literally working on everything that you do throwing the football. I don't know if he's doing that. So when I look at projects, it's not just a project with a team. It's a project for the individual on themselves.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And I think, I think situation matters a lot for these quarterbacks, and I would love to see him with Kevin O'Connell. We saw him give him a little bit of a pet talk after he was down earlier, so that could be a good destination for them. The Vikings are looking like they're probably going to move on for J.J. McCarthy, and I don't know if
Anthony... They're not going to move on yet.
Well, they might be tailoring in that direction.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, Tua, some other guy's name popping up. I don't know if they're going to pull that trigger, but Anthony Richardson, you
want to talk about a project. That one... I'll say, because, you drafted... J.J. McCarthy had more skills as a quarterback than Anthony Richardson did. I think you could still work with him a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm a believer in J.J. McCarthy, but I would believe that type of sentiment with him more so than
you like
some
the
of these other guys.
development aspect of J.J. McCarthy more.
Well, maybe. Do I think that Minnesota should look at bringing other quarterbacks in? Absolutely, because you got a roster that is obviously ready to... They 2 years ago had a huge season with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold goes on to Seattle, wins a Super Bowl. Minnesota fires their GM. They should bring somebody in right now with that roster, because you're wasting the talent of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. That's a good team. If they bring in a quarterback, I'm not a believer in Kyler Murray, because I don't think Kyler Murray is going to work hard enough to become the quarterback that his talent level would allow him to be.
Yeah, well, and that's why I think maybe a good spot for Anthony Richardson would be somewhere like a Green Bay, because if you have him sit behind Jordan Love... I would say
Kansas City.
Really? Well, because I was thinking because look at what...
I don't think you're wrong there, by the way.
No. Yeah, no.
Because they're not going to keep Malik Willis.
No, but look at what...
By the way, Malik Willis? Matt Flynn 2.0, maybe?
Malik Willis changed his passing mechanics a lot this year. And was that working with that offense, learning behind Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur? And it got him. It's going to get him paid. He's the second or third top free agent on the market. Someone's going to pay him $30 million a year.
Oh.
Some team is going to.
It's been talked about. So I think that is...
You're telling me Anthony Richardson...
It's a little stretch.
And it might be. And so I think Anthony Richardson, you go sit behind Jordan Love, maybe he can turn it around. He's young, and that's the thing. He's young.
Andy Reid, I feel like, would be somebody that might take on, somebody like that. He would be a third string. Andy Reid ain't trying to go in with, Mahomes is obviously already hurt.
Yeah.
They're not going to go in with him as the backup and possibly playing, any kind of significant time next year. But, yeah, as a third-string guy to have on the roster, practice squad, maybe try to develop him. I could maybe see that a little bit. But then it also would show you, too, if nobody really goes after him, you're like, nah, we're all set here.
Yeah.
To say that I'm low on Anthony Richardson, Adam in Arlington knows damn well what I'm talking about here. Who else stood out to you?
Yeah, so going back to the running backs, I wanted to give a little shout out because all the attention was on Jeremiah Love,
and rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. But let's not forget about his teammate Jadarian Price. He had 674 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns for Notre Dame, sitting behind Jeremiah Love. So he had a great season for them. So I think watching him go out there, finish in the top 10 was really, really good to see that. Jam Miller out of Alabama. he struggled with injuries all season. He had a concussion in October, and he had a broken collarbone in August. Struggled with injuries, getting on the field with Alabama. And their run game, it was stagnant at times of the season, and he was dealing with injuries. He goes in there, finishes in the top 10 as well. So those were some standout guys I've seen that kind of flew under the radar. Obviously, Dylan mentioned Taylor Green. That was phenomenal. And I think the overall thing, not just maybe one specific player, but just seeing the average 40-yard dash by position groups overall, it was the best we've seen since 2003. Defensive linemen average 4.83. Linebackers average 4.55. Yeah. Defensive backs 4.44. Tight ends 4.63. Running backs 4.45. That's all best since 2023. So just seeing that it's kind of a changing of the guard. We were just getting a bunch of freak athletes at this time.
Yeah. I mean, it was Sonny Styles, right? That was all over a bunch of different social media accounts where they were talking about the comparisons. Like his vertical jump was the same as Nate Robinson.
Lorenzo ran like 4.38, and he's a defensive back. He's a safety. His brother Lorenzo.
Yeah,
like that family just has insane genetics.
Yeah. I mean, God, these Ohio State defenders. And then you didn't even have Caleb Downs. He didn't work out. I think, yeah, we talk about the athletes being bigger, stronger, faster. I mean, no better evidence of what we have seen this week. It is absolutely wild. That a guy like Sonny Styles, and this is part of what we'll talk about coming up next hour, is the way that he worked out, that he worked himself into not just the top 10, but the top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, the size of like Calvin Johnson, the vertical jump, the 40 time. How does it always translate to how, you play on the field? We've seen throughout the years guys that have performed really well showcasing their athleticism. How good of routes do they run? Do they catch the ball in the backfield? The biggest thing I was looking forward to, and seeing how well does Jeremiah Love run the route tree out of the backfield. He keeps getting compared to Jahmyr Gibbs. Mm-hmm. Well, Jahmyr Gibbs is excellent at that. And if you're going to be a star in the NFL at the running back position, I think that has to be a part of it. I appreciate Ashton Genty's talent. I still think he's going to be a good running back. But how much does he get utilized out of the backfield? A lot of it. And I wonder, too, on the Raiders with their offensive system, on how much, there's some rumblings about Geno Smith that I think Fowler may have been talking about this a little bit, too, when I was reading the piece. He or Dan Graziano saying that there are executives around the league that are looking at Geno and hoping that he gets cut by the Raiders to bring him in because they thought he may have been held back a lot by, the system. And not to mention just an atrocious
their offensive line was awful. I don't think any quarterback would have been able to succeed under that system. It was just so bad. I mean, you saw Ashton Genty just didn't have any chance. I think he had like 3 rushing yards against the Cowboys in that game. It was insane. Like we shut him down completely. That was making our defense look really good at that time. So I guess with going back to Jeremiah Love, it's interesting because I'm always thinking about not so much of the ceiling of some of these players, because you mentioned Sonny Styles, right? Like that's probably going to have him in the top 5 based on his combine results. But what is also the floor for some of these players? Because I think the floor with Jeremiah Love is Kansas City at 9, right? Or are they 10? I know New Orleans is in the top 10 as well.
I can't imagine.
He's not going to make it past those 2 teams.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So that's what I'm wondering too, because you mentioned the comparisons with Jahmyr Gibbs. He also had some similar combine results to DeMarco Murray. He's now their new running back coach. They brought back Eric Bieniemy in as well, old offensive coordinator. So could see him in Kansas City as well.
Kansas City's they're doing something at running back.
Yeah,
that's for sure. All right, 1 down. We'll head into hour number 2. Let's do a little college basketball. Everybody's talking about Duke and Arizona, but a team outside of what a lot of people have been talking about made a huge statement yesterday. I'll tell you who that is next here on The Fan.
driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
Hour 2 on The Fan. Welcome in on this Sunday. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres here with you. Dylan Moore back in the Pimp Cup on the ones and twos. As much as you're mad at me this morning, we appreciate you listening as I'm catching up on the Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys fan text from early last hour. My thoughts on, honestly, Mavs fans should feel lucky that you're building around Cooper Flagg instead of Luka Doncic.
He's doubling down.
I know it's hard. Of course, Adam in Arlington weighing in for once and for all. Will, can we just get a clear opinion on Anthony Richardson? This one was interesting. Before we get into some college basketball talk here, we'll also talk about the Cowboys' possibility of trading down and back to a Rick 6. Dylan, you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. You feel like you've learned from last week.
I sure hope so.
How to approach it.
I hope so.
If you weren't listening last Sunday, Rick 6 is a list that Eric, I don't know really how you put, not you're really curating, but you do a blind top 10. He'll give some names or topics, and you have to rank them, not knowing what the next ones could be. So you have to be strategic in where you put them. And last week were the best pass rushers over the course last 20 years or so.
Yeah, no, we did number 1 overall picks, and we, Will had a great list. Blind ranking. The thing about blind ranking that makes it so much fun is you don't know what's coming next, so the anticipation just builds up. And so we were giving out number 1 overall picks. Dylan kind of messed up, throwing Myles Garrett maybe a little bit too low, and he ended up putting Kyler Murray
not my
over
best
him.
Performance.
That's right. It wasn't pass rushers. It was number 1 overall.
Well, we had
picks.
pass rushers.
Right.
Well, the pass rushers is what made the list so hard because we threw Myles Garrett and Trayvon Walker in there.
And somehow
so that
Will was
threw
able
the
to
list off because we thought it was just going to be, he's going to throw, Jamarcus Russell at us or something, and you were saving out for Joe Burrow. So
You're right. I was sitting on that. I put Myles Garrett at 2. And because I knew if Burrow came up, Burrow would be my number 1.
Yeah, well, hey,
somehow you ran the
list
table.
overall.
You
you're
ran the
feeling
table.
good.
It was impressive.
So I'm hoping to replicate last week. We'll have that for you coming up at 11:40. The 630. Am I missing something on Mendoza? He reads as the quintessential good in college, bad in the pros quarterback. Maybe a flyer late in the first round at best, mainly to get a fifth-year rookie option if he does hit. Well, I'm assuming that they're saying that they look at him as a late first-round quality player. He's going number 1. It's interesting, and I'll say this, that I have been wrong on quarterbacks coming out. I haven't been wrong necessarily. Well, yeah, I have, because I was not I was against Jackson Dart. I was like, I just didn't see it. And I was surprised by stuff that I saw this year from him. I'm still not sold that he is the guy that a lot of people think he is. But you go back, Brian Broaddus talks a lot about Joey Harrington. I was a Joey Harrington guy. So, yeah, I am big on Mendoza. Eric, you made the point as we were talking about this text in the break that you like his size and strength.
Yeah. No, I want my quarterbacks to have size and strength. You watch that run he had late in that Miami game where he just put his body on the line to score that last touchdown that they had, and I think it was put him up by 10 or 8 at that point. Whatever it was, that was a big play. And I like seeing quarterbacks throw their body on the line. And obviously we can talk about the intangibles, the tangibles he has. Obviously he does everything else right. I think he's good at the podium. People like to call it cringe, but I think he answers questions really well.
I love him there.
Yeah.
I think he is an A++ at the podium.
Yeah, everything you want in a quarterback.
We're going to get to this because I'd like to discuss that. I had some notes here coming up next hour right after we do the news at noon. We'll talk about Mendoza because Dan Orlovsky, I thought, had a very interesting point that he was making earlier in the week when looking at some tape on the consensus number 1 pick and the rest of the QBs out there. I kind of somewhat hinted at it earlier. Malik Willis, Matt Flynn 2.0. Maybe.
Don't hate it.
We'll see. Today is March 1st. Dylan, if you will indulge me, please. You know that, okay, stop it right now and then start it over again because it's the first sounder that is like a shot of adrenaline right into my aorta. Go again. Bam! God, it hits so good. I've never done heroin.
Oh, no.
But I'll tell you what, from what I understand of it,
That's crazy.
you know, that first hit of it, that's what it feels like each and every year once that music starts.
Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it. I love it.
The madness is about here.
The madness is here.
Boy, did we have some great stuff yesterday. I'm going to leave my team out of it because they're not even in the top 25, but I was very excited about it yesterday. Duke and Arizona. I've been saying all year Arizona and Michigan are the two best teams in the country. I am going to change that to Duke and Arizona. And that means nothing about Michigan. Michigan did just lose their backup guard to an ACL, which does hurt them. I still think Michigan is great. This is more about Duke than it is about Michigan. They're 27-2. They are just absolutely
rolling.
They're rolling, man. And Cam Boozer has really, he's been, well, I don't know about the catalyst for him because I think maybe the catalyst is actually Isaiah Evans. Cameron Boozer is the star. Evans may be the catalyst. He is so good. 5 of 9 from 3 yesterday. 19 points in 29 minutes. Cameron Boozer, 18 points, 77-51. Virginia has lost, going into that game, 3 games all year.
Yeah.
Virginia's good.
They're good.
They're ranked 11th
Yep.
in the country. And Duke absolutely smoked them. They go to the half with a 15-point lead. It was like never a game. And then Arizona, for their part, too, it was basically the same thing. I'm like, now, I was saying something. I was working last night and talking with some of our customers, and I'm like, because the Kentucky Vandy game ended, and it goes right into Arizona, Kansas. And I thought I saw no score. I walked up to another area, came back what I thought was like 3 minutes, and it was 14-2. I'm like, did Arizona just score 14 points in like a minute plus of game time? No, it wasn't quite that. Anyway, they beat the doors off the Jayhawks. They look awesome. So I'll give you my top 5 teams in the country in order. I am going to go, I believe Arizona is better than Duke, but I am talking about Apple. I mean, this is 1A, 1B. It's so close. It is so close. But here's the thing about Arizona. And one of my best friends, Adam Miller, if you're out there listening, and I know you're chuckling right now, you're probably in the car with Harper because you know exactly where I'm going. Arizona finds a way to just crap the bed in the tournament. More than any other team, I feel like, in college basketball. Like top programs that, are really good programs, that have really good players and really good teams that absolutely buckle at some point way earlier in the tournament than they should. I don't know if this team will do that because, to me, I think that they're the best team in the country. They've got absolutely everything. All 5 of their starters can score, play defense, size, strength, rebound, just the total package. Inside, outside, they're everything. They can score from everywhere. When they need a bucket, they got, a guard that can drive, take a mid-range money. They're so good, but damn, I'm just thinking yeah, I could say this all year long. And so for those of you out there, I want to go on record by saying this. Yes, Will, you said Arizona was the best team, was one of the best teams all year. That does not mean I believe that they will go to a Final Four.
That's not how
that reason.
That's not how March works.
That's right. For that reason, I will say that, I will hold out the belief that they will go to a Final Four. Where Duke, and Duke's had times where they've had good teams and then they've gotten bounced early, but Duke they always win. They're always there. So, and Michigan over the course of the last decade has been, right there. Elite Eights, Final Fours. I think that they can, definitely be one of those teams. So I've got Arizona, Duke. This one, the next three are tough in just how I'm slotting them. Because I don't know if I can recall ever getting a text here at this station from a Husky fan. But if you are out there listening and I put Michigan over UConn, you have a legit argument to be like, why? UConn has been really, really good too. I mean, they are getting super, super hot. So, they beat Seton Hall yesterday. They beat St. John's. Did you see this?
The game of St. John's?
Yeah. They, absolutely
the craziest stat of all time.
Destroyed them.
Let's hear it.
They beat them 72-40.
Ooh.
I was like, St. John's shot 20%.
Did you see the scoring drought?
No.
Oh, I gotta pull it up. It was insane. I have an estimate of the time. Let me try and get it.
They missed 12 consecutive shots in the first half, and then missed their final 24 field goal attempts.
And that spanned over the final 17 minutes and 28 seconds of the game. They did not make a field goal.
That is wild. It's St. John's, by the way, 15th ranked team in the country, 22-6. So I'm going to have Michigan, then UConn, and then, hey, don't look now, but the defending national champions are red hot. Alex Condon, that team, Florida's...
They're peaking at the right time, which is what you love seeing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want. I say this every year about, what do I want out of my team? That you're playing your best basketball as you're moving through February. And now as you hit March, College Game Day was in Gainesville. They're taking on Arkansas, who's, Arkansas is going to be super hit, super miss. They've got one of the best guards in the country. You highlighted him last week and talking about a guy, to put with Cooper Flagg and Acuff Jr. He is outstanding. And, man, Florida just absolutely smoked the Hogs, 111-77. They are playing excellent basketball. They're beating everybody, and they're doing it comfortably, throughout the entire month of February. So, and that is whom I would have as the fifth best team, according to Will. Now, guns effing up.
Yep. I was hoping you would get to them. Shout out Jacob Ray.
Look.
They're 3-0 since JT Toppin got hurt.
And their offensive efficiency has gone up.
Yeah.
So they... you're just wondering, I'm like, I'm talking with, where I work over at the Gibson, the owner has a place, from Lubbock, our GM, like, it's a bunch of Texas Tech Red Raider fans. And, I would talk with them, so I was like, man, it's just such a heartbreaker, with JT Toppin, because you just don't feel like that's a Final Four / championship team without JT Toppin. I no longer believe that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't go into Iowa State and win the way they did. I mean, they were winning comfortably. Iowa State's really, really good.
Iowa State
could go to a Final Four.
They pushed too.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. It did not matter. They stayed composed the entire time. And the most impressive thing about Tech, not just the fact without JT Toppin, but like you said, the efficiency's going up. And they've beaten Iowa State, Houston, Duke, Arizona. The only top teams that they haven't beat is Michigan.
They have 4 top 6 wins.
Yes.
But again, it's with that qualifier that, like, okay, well, some of it, obviously was with JT Toppin. They no longer have him. The Cyclones had not lost in Ames this year. They had not lost. And Tech goes in 82-73. Donovan Atwell with 18 points. They had 6 players in double figures. Christian Anderson, he's going to have to be huge for them, without Toppin. How they shoot from 3 will play, a big role. I no longer can dismiss Texas Tech without JT Toppin. I can't do it. Not after, what happened yesterday and the fact that, with that resume of 4 top 6 wins.
682 said, you don't got Houston at the top. Hey, shout out to Houston, but Kingston Fleming is phenomenal. I love that dude.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Tech just beat them.
I love Fleming too, but yeah, no.
He put up 42 and Tech beat them.
Yeah.
So,
Houston just lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody has bad losses.
Smoked Colorado by 40.
Yeah, that was bad.
But
102-62.
Colorado's, under 500 in conference. But yeah, and look, they lost to 3 good teams. Iowa State, Arizona, Kansas. Yeah.
And
still.
And shout out to some other teams getting hot. St. Mary's, we mentioned them. They beat Gonzaga. They controlled the majority of that second half. Mikey Lewis had 31, 5, and 4 last night, plus 11 from the field. Tom Izzo's team's getting hot. They just beat Purdue.
Yeah, I haven't been as big on Purdue as anybody else. I tell you, the other sleeper team that's, playing well, and we are drastically late, is Alabama.
It's March.
Phylon dog. Alabama's good, man. Alabama's damn good. Play some defense down there, though. Okay. Some more Cowboys news because Stephen Jones was talking about the possibility of moving out of the number 12 spot. What do we think about that? And somebody at the Combine may have played a huge role as we're like, yeah, we're going to have to trade down. We'll tell you all about that next on The Fan.
When you're
This next segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-3333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
What will the Cowboys do at 12? What should they do? 877-881-1053. Let us know your thoughts on that. On the Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys fan text. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres with Dylan Moore here on this Sunday morning on your home of the Cowboys. 105.3 The Fan, Twitch, YouTube, and 105.3thefan.com. Great stuff, as always, from Blogging the Boys. Brian Martin on this one. On the Cowboys and the possibility they may be looking to trade down from pick 12. And, well, why? Why do you say that? Well, actually, it's because Stephen Jones here did. Here's what he had to say about it.
It's tough to predict. We're certainly open-minded to it. Always open-minded to trading. And the right guy fits and it's the perfect fit, and we would certainly look at it and see if it worked in with what we're trying to get accomplished.
Okay. Trading down. So, this is what Brian had to say about it. All options are more likely on the table as things stand right now. However, trading down from 12 seems the least likely because that's the best chance to land one of the top players in this year's draft class. With that in mind, though, we wanted to explore these things. So, which players get drafted with the first 11 selections ahead of the Cowboys would be really important, telling us if they're looking to trade down from 12 or not. And we kind of tie that in to a little bit of what we were talking about earlier. A few weeks ago, Field Yates of ESPN had his mock draft. There have been others that have had this as well because Brian Martin points out the popular selections for the Cowboys right now with the 12th pick in the first round are Sonny Styles, cornerback Mansour Delane, cornerback Jermod McCoy, edge Akeem Mesidor, and edge Casillas Howell. But the Sonny Styles thing is interesting, right? Because of what happened, what was it, Thursday? Is that day one? Whatever. When he performed, 6'5", 244, jumped 43.5 inches, the best leap for a player at that position going back to 2003. He also jumped 11 foot 2 inches in the broad jump and ran a 4.46 40. So, does that mean, Eric, that this will vault him up even higher, well into the top 10 and possibly into the top 5?
I think absolutely. I mean, it's hard for me to think that he is going to be number 12 for the Cowboys to be choosing. And I'm looking at the teams ahead. The Jets, I think, are going to go defense and take best player available. So whether that's Sonny Styles in their eye, whether that's the other linebacker, Arvell Reese, whether that's David Bailey, who's rising up on a bunch of people's mock drafts as well, I don't know. Ruben Bain seems like he's falling a little bit. There's some questions about, maybe his arms being a little bit too short, and as an edge rusher, that can be problematic for some of these scouts and what they're trying to look for in talent and evaluation. So, yes, Keldrick Falk from Auburn, again, a guy that's probably going to be in the top 15 range. I definitely think that this combine is kind of hinting towards Sonny Styles not going to be there at number 12 for the Cowboys.
There's so many things that play into this because the fact, I think mainly from my perspective, that you have no day 2 picks. That's a problem. Yeah. And I agree with the 901 that you need legit talent on this team, not depth. For the most part. You always need depth. I think that they have a problem with depth, so you certainly need it there. But, on its surface, I agree. I think I've been talking about this for about a year now. When it comes to middle linebacker is really not used anymore. You got the Mike, the Will, and all that stuff. But let's just take it for, not an edge. Like Vel Reese. By the way, if you didn't hear, Vel Reese has made it known that he wants to go by Vel Reese.
Vel Reese, okay.
So he's an edge linebacker, coming out of Ohio State, where Sonny Styles is more in the middle. I think that this is the position that has taken the mantle from running back as the most undervalued position in professional football.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do not. I look at the impact that the type of players have had in history in the middle of defenses. Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, and ironically enough, Urlacher, was moved from safety in college to linebacker. Now, that's not the style that's played in the NFL anymore. So it's different. However, I still think that the middle of a defense has been so undervalued by teams, and the ones that are really good are the ones that have a very good middle of their defense. I think that you look at what, Seattle last year, and this is type of what, Sonny Styles being somewhat of a hybrid linebacker safety. If they believe that he's going to be taken up higher inside the top 10, I would not hate it at all if they coupled the 12 and the 20 to move up.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't hate it at all either. But, I guess that kind of goes, with you take the talent over the depth, right? Like, if you move up to get Sonny Styles or, let's say, Caleb Downs, for example, is that better than having the depth of, let's say, Mansour Delane and one of these other edge rushers at 20?
Yeah, well, when it comes to the cornerbacks, from what I'm gathering, a lot of what I read from those analyzing this, and it's been talked about too with Broadus and Wolchuk, that the cornerback, it's not a great cornerback class as far as, first round grades, But again, I go back to the fact you don't have day 2 picks. So are you going to try to go after, cornerback in the draft? Late in the draft? That's super shaky. Now, look, you've been able to do it before to some relative success. So it is possible. But I look at Cleveland at 6. Cleveland's roster is crap.
Awful.
They got a ton of holes. When you look at all those that are drafting up in the top 10, the 2 teams with the biggest holes are Vegas and Cleveland. I think you could get Cleveland to take that 12 and 20 4-6. Now, there's always usually something else that's thrown in, and that may be the case, but I would love it if the Cowboys moved up to 6 to get Sonny Styles ahead of Washington.
Yeah, and I think the Titans and Jets would be in that conversation if they, and I guess for the Titans, they changed their staff and they have their what's possibly looking like their franchise quarterback in Cam Ward. And then with the Jets, you have a crap load of picks. So I think that I agree with you. I would probably say Vegas and definitely Cleveland in the top 10. But I don't know, man. Arizona has some holes as well. That's a bad situation as well. So it is interesting to see what Cleveland might do there at number 6, because the Giants and the Browns, I don't know what they're going to do. I feel like they should go receiver. Yeah. So is that Tate at that spot?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess probably. I don't know. He's looked at as the more complete wide receiver of the group. Do any of the guys have the blistering speed? Do they run the whole route tree? How well do they run routes, et cetera, et cetera? I'm always interested to see, because as much as I think that, linebacker in space, not an edge, is incredibly undervalued, I think edge is far and away the most overvalued.
Yeah.
The teams that win, they win with a pass rush, no question about it. But they pass rush as a team. Myles Garrett is the best on the planet. He's been that way for a minute. The Browns haven't done crap. Last year, Brian Burns was second in sacks. Giants didn't do much. Houston had a great defense, and Danielle Hunter did have 15 sacks. But I look at their defense being great because they did it a lot. Their team. I mean, it's not just Danielle Hunter. It's Will Anderson. It's a lot of that. Aiden Hutchinson. Detroit, the strength of them, 2 years ago was their offense. Their weakness was their defense. Now, he is a great player. And then obviously, he had been hurt, but how much does that really impact your team on having a super stud edge rusher? I think it's incredibly overvalued. Your defensive scheme, how you are able to scheme pressure with players, not a player, I think is so much more important. I don't know.
Yeah, so what
maybe I'm just full of hot takes this morning.
I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. I think Mike is definitely an undervalued position. I mean, I'm thinking back to, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Jordan Brooks, shout out Texas Tech alumni, he was leading. I think he led the league in tackles for Miami, and nobody would have thought that. I mean, he plays for the Dolphins, so that's an underrated value. Devin Lloyd and Foye Oluokun.
Yeah, Jordan Brooks. Yeah, you're right.
Devin Lloyd and Foye Oluokun. Devin Lloyd had a career year for Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. That's something in the linebackers, too. Foye Oluokun has led the league in tackles before. So I don't hate that take. And, hey, we could get Nakobe Dean.
That's right. Right. He was up for Comeback Player of the Year a couple of years ago. I like Nakobe Dean. Should be all right. All right. I don't want to waste any more time because I want to give as much time as possible for my second road through. Dylan, your first time was last week too, right? All right.
That is correct.
So we're both veterans now as we head into a Rick 6, and where are we going with it?
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit different than last week. So last week we did blind ranking. This one, since it's March, and I know you're getting so excited for March Madness, Will.
Yeah, baby.
I'm throwing at you a Sweet 16 2000 pop song banger edition of a March Madness bracket coming up next here on The Fan.
Oh, my.
is also brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Plano, the on-time experts heating and plumbing, and by Base Power. Your one and only home of the Rangers is, 105.3 The Fan.
This next segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine. #1 Chevy dealership in the world, 3 years straight. They've got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 through 2025.
Thank you, Dylan. We've got a 2000s pop song Sweet 16 bracket edition of the Rick 6 coming up in just a moment. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres with Dylan Moore here on this Sunday morning on 105.3 The Fan. 15 minutes away from a big-time NBA matchup getting started on this Sunday. The news at noon is coming up next. Before we get into it, though, was just seeing a tweet from a good friend, former colleague, Mike Fisher. Exclusive. Reminder, when wondering if NFL draft trade idea is, quote, worth it, modernize Cowboys, the Mike McCoy, Jimmy Johnson trade value chart tells you. For instance, trading both 12 and 20 to get 6 and 39, that's on paper an even trade. It's 4 quarters equals $1. We're literally just talking about that. When it comes to coming up to getting, not necessarily to 39, but going up to 6 with Cleveland. So just want to put that in as a footnote. But let's get to this Rick 6.
Let's get it, man. Rick 6. Will Chambers already teased it. Rick 6, Sweet 16, March Madness 2000 pop
Why not?
song banger brackets. Here we go. So we're going to give you 16 songs.
They're going to be matched up against each other.
They're going to be matched up against each other. Single elimination. We're going to play the sound of the song, the matchup, and then we're going to debate who moves on, and then we're going to decide a champion. I'm ready. It's March, baby.
Weigh in 877-881-1053.
And let us know. 2000 bangers. Put on your throwback cap. Here we go. First matchup. Dylan, let's hear the first matchup.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, look, if we're talking about 2000 bangers, it's a 1 seed. It's a 1 seed.
So you respect the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like
JT and all, but it's an absolute classic. That's a 1 seed.
The way to decide this, there's 3 of us, so majority rules.
Okay. So I will vote for with Luda, Lil Jon, and Usher.
When I think of bangers, I gotta vote because that's a song I'm gonna be playing when I'm
It slaps. Let's go.
Yeah. And if I'm at a party or something, I'd rather play that. JT, shout out to him, one of his best songs, but I'm going But I guess Dylan, what would you have voted?
It's not his best song, so we'll go Just I think it's such a classic.
Agreed.
No hate to Justin Timberlake. It's a good song. Just
I'd have the ones I'd put ahead of Rock Your Body.
940 says Usher. So it looks like so far everybody's on the train. Next matchup, Dylan.
Hold on, give me a second. Here we go. This is going to be... Actually, I'm not even going to tell you the seeds. We're just going to let it play.
Let it play.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Some Nelly Furtado.
Okay.
They will be going against...
Promiscuous. All right, okay.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
I'm kind of curious though on the seeds. Like, what were the seeds? What seed was
it was technically 1 versus 16.
Okay, yeah,
and this would be
all right. So I called it.
Yeah, so this would be 8 versus 9 technically on the bracket standpoint.
Yeah, drop it like it's hot.
8 versus 9. I think it.
Hold on. Let's let Dylan go.
Yeah,
here
Dylan, I'll decide.
And I shouldn't have just jumped in first.
No, you're good. All right, Dylan, what do you think? Drop it like it's hot or promiscuous?
I like Drop It Like It's Hot as well.
Hate to say I agree with you guys. I would have went with Drop It Like It's Hot. Promiscuous. Okay. A valid 9 versus 8 seed, though. I think Promiscuous with Timbaland, definitely an underrated banger for sure.
Okay. Next up,
Do you want me to give you the seeds first?
Yeah,
or do you want me to
give
just
us
play it?
what this is. Yeah, say this is
I'm
whatever
still grabbing
seed.
songs. So Eric, you can go ahead and give him the seeds for this next matchup.
So this technically would be a 2 versus
15.
15. Yes.
Okay.
I haven't even pulled those up yet. Here we go. We're not doing 2. We're going to do 5 versus 12.
Or
Okay.
5. Yeah, 5 versus 12. That's what I meant.
See, this
5
is
versus 12.
always the upset.
Yeah. Here we go.
It's a 5-12 upset. Is it going to be an upset? I don't know. Let's find out.
Since you've been gone, I can't breathe for the first time.
All right, Kelly Clarkson. Since you've been gone, is that the 12 or the 5?
They are the 5.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the 5, and they will be matching up against the 12. Here we go.
Wait a minute. Who is seeding these?
Dude, Since You've Been Gone's a classic.
Come on.
Are we on upset alert? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know. All right, I'll go last.
Okay. I think I'm going with the upset here. I'm going Flowrider low.
That's a tough one for me.
Oh, you're a Kelly Clarkson guy?
It's a good song. I'll go Kelly Clarkson there.
Oh.
I guess.
Uh-oh, here you go, Will. You're the tiebreaker.
Yeah, this was an obvious one for me. This is definitely Flo Rida Low. I thought it was his best one.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a solid run there of about what, like 6, 7 top 10 hits, probably. That might be a little bit high. But I mean, he had several. But this was the first one. This one, yeah. I mean, I agree with the 9-4-5. Apple, but Low is a 5 seed, not the 12.
Hey,
All right.
it's just 682. The seeding of this contest is beyond it. Do not focus too much on the seeding. It was more random with the seeding. Let's focus more on the matchup. Let's move on into the next one. A 4 versus 13. Right here. Here you go, Dylan. So that's the 4 seed.
Okay.
And I think you'll agree with this next one going up against number 13.
Okay.
Some Gwen Stefani in there.
Dylan?
Let's go with the 4 seed.
I think this is a sweet pay, yeah. I mean, there's no way you vote Holla Back Girl.
Yeah. I mean, no question. I love Outkast. This is one of my least favorite Outback songs, though.
Really?
To be honest.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't dislike it, but I mean, I got about 20 songs I get to before. Hey, yeah. But,
Shake it like a Polaroid picture. All right.
All right.
Here we
All
go.
right, so we got the 4 seed moving on.
All right. So we have a. I'm blanking on the seeding. 6. What would 6 go up against?
Go ahead and recap that first 4 that we've done.
Yeah. So we got so far we have moving on against Rock Your Body. We have Drop It Like It's Hot beating Promiscuous. We have Flow Rider moving on against Since You've Been Gone, and then we have Hey Ya beating Holla Back Girl.
Man, Outkast.
So what does 6 go up against? That would be a 6 versus
11.
11. 6 versus 11 right here. Number 6.
Wrong song.
Oh.
That is not. Here we go.
Here we go.
I got a lot of tabs here. Let me
Man,
find it real
I'll
quick.
tell you right
Number
now.
6.
All right, Mr. Brightside.
Mr. Brightside.
Again, maybe it's just me on this that I was never a Mr. Brightside fan, and I like the Killers. Like, as far as that album goes, somebody told me it was definitely, I thought, a better one than Mr. Brightside.
Okay.
They got some. I saw the Killers in concert. They're amazing.
So they'll be going up against number 11, which could be a sneaker Cinderella story. Here we go. Play it, Dylan.
When I'm in need, yes,
Yeah.
she's a trifling.
Sneaky one.
And indeed,
Oh, she's a gold digger.
man, I don't know about this seating. I got it. I'm questioning the committee, big time here. You got Kanye as the 11th seed here. All right, I'm going Kanye. That hands down.
It's March, baby. Give me the upset. 11. I'm taking Gold Digger.
I'm already, a little bit perturbed ahead of knowing that Toxic is not a 1 seed, but we'll get to that later.
All right, what do you got? I mean, Dylan, what would you have voted?
What are my options here?
Mr. Brightside or Gold Digger?
I like Mr. Brightside. That's who I would have went.
Ooh,
We took the upset.
Yeah.
All right, next matchup.
Wait. Oh, did you go Kanye?
I did go Kanye.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
what decided it.
Kanye's moving on.
Okay, so now we have a 3 versus. Oh my God, I always mess up the seating. What is 3 going?
14.
14. 3 versus 14. Here we go. Number 3.
Oh my.
Now, is this a valid seating?
Yeah.
Number 3 seed for
Yeah.
Lose Yourself?
All right. Yes, I would agree with this seeding.
Okay. And
If you have Toxic as a 14 seed, I'm walking
this
out.
is
You're
not-
doing
this-
the last
this one
2
is
hours
not-
by
this
yourself.
This is not toxic. This is not toxic. But you could say it's a little low on the seating. Here we go.
If only RJ Choppy were in here. Miley. Party in the USA. Yeah,
I feel like that's
there's
more-
there's no doubt. I got Eminem moving on here.
Yeah, Dylan, what do you think?
I'm gonna go Party in the USA.
I'm going Lose Yourself just because I feel like it's more 2000s. Party in the USA is more 2010s to me.
Okay.
Banger
Yeah.
though.
Okay.
All right, we got
I
2
got
more.
Lose Yourself.
We
All
got
right,
2 more matchups and then we'll speed run it.
No. We're gonna go through the Sweet 16,
And then you're gonna bring
we're
it
gonna
back?
come back for the Elite 8
Okay.
next hour.
All right, I like it. All right, here we go. 2 more matchups to go. And this is number 7 seed, which you love this song. You already mentioned it. Play it, Dylan.
I mean, I'm going to throw this out here right now. I don't care what song it goes up against because I don't think my favorite song of all time, which would be in this era, is going to be on this list. Toxic is going to be. I'm voting for Toxic the rest of the way. Toxic, absolute. I mean, just all timer.
Don't shoot the messenger, but hey, there's a reason there's a 7 versus 10 because 7 versus 10 is always a banger matchup. Play number 10, Dylan.
Oh man! Oh no! Oh, how could you make me do that to my boy Fitty? Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. Toxic.
You're taking
Toxic is iconic. I mean, so is In the Club. But as far as icon status, I'm going with Britney, bitch.
Okay, Dylan, what do you got? I'll be the tiebreaker if you go up against him.
Yeah, I'm going Brittany as well.
Yeah.
Toxic.
Oh, wow.
Yep, sorry, man.
Wow, that's crazy. And look, we already got people saying Toxic is better. We got 50 from the 940.
Yeah.
Okay, I would have said 50. I think 50 got a little bit of a, he got shanned by the committee here at number 10. I would have put him a higher seed.
Doubt at 10. Wow. Yeah. All right.
Damn, that's a good one from the Bailey the Bird. So, all right, we got one more matchup, and then we'll take it up into the next hour. Here we go. Last matchup, a 2 versus 15, number 2.
Okay.
Good 2 seed?
That's a good 2 seed, yeah. Yeah, okay. And the 15? Yeah, let it ride out a little bit. Alicia Keys, Jay-Z, great combo there. Wow, you put Beyonce up against the Hubs, huh? Hot take over here, and I like her as a person. You know, somewhat of I don't listen to any Beyonce music. I don't dislike it. It's just not my thing. Jay-Z certainly is. I got Jay-Z and Alicia Keys moving on.
I think Empire State of Mind, just from a variety standpoint, more iconic. Irreplaceable is a good song, but I think this is a mismatch. Like, give me Empire State of Mind. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, Jay-Z all the way.
All right. We have our Elite 8, and we will do that coming up an hour from now. Now less than an hour at 12:40. Your latest headlines that include a big-time win yesterday and a historic one for a local team and a big matchup in the NBA. Just moments from tip-off. The news at noon. That's next here on The Fan.
America's team is 105.3 The Fan.
Hello, baby.
KRLD-FM and HD1, Dallas-Fort Worth.
An Odyssey sports station.
Driven by our D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on, leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
We've got serious fallout as we head into hour number 3 from that Sweet 16 bracket of 2,000 hit songs in the Rick 6. I mean, I'm getting girlfriend texts. She's like,
Oh, no.
I don't know if she was upset with me, but she certainly had some questions about my my thoughts on some moving through. But
I got a text from my dad, and he's a big Kelly Clarkson fan, and he said, never bet against all caps Kelly.
okay.
So
Okay. We'll have the Elite Eight coming up at 12:40 at the end of this hour. 12:20 today. Had a text earlier from Atolo, looking at Fernando Mendoza. And I think that he obviously being the consensus number one pick, but what are the possibilities of looking at where he may not be a hit? And an interesting assessment that was made of him earlier this week. So we'll hit that up. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres with Dylan Moore here with you as we got you for 2 more hours on this Sunday now afternoon. Rangers Mariners today, 2 o'clock with Jacob Lutz taking the ball on the bump for the good guys as they continue spring training in, surprise, Arizona. This week, of course, KNC Masterpiece and the G-Bag Nation will be live from Surprise all week, and we all know what a great, great week that is. So looking forward to that. How about the Stars last night? They come back from the break and now won 2 straight, 8 consecutive wins for the Dallas Stars as they come back to beat Nashville. Overtime goal, a minute 47 in by Jason Robertson. They were down 2-0 after the first period. They come back to tie it and win. Otter back in goal for the first time since returning from the Olympics. Stopped 25 shots. 8th win in a row. Ties the franchise mark for longest win streak. And they will have a chance to break that record tomorrow when they travel to Vancouver to take on the lowly Canucks.
talk about picking up right where you left off. We talked about this last week on the show. The ability to go stop in the middle of the season, go represent your country in the Olympics, and then having to go back like it's just a normal day at work. I mean, it can be a little taxing, but hey, they picked up right where they left off. They're hottest team in the league right now.
No doubt. The Mavericks will be hosting the defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder tonight at the American Airlines Center at 7 o'clock. Look, situation is what it is. OKC favored by 16.5. They've got SGA now back for the Thunder, but it's a huge day in the NBA, and just about to tip off on ABC. You've got the New York Knicks hosting the Spurs. The Knicks have, we're going to be questioning them, no doubt, right? They're a very good team. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Are they that team this year, considering the injuries that Boston and Indiana have had to, endure? And I'm just not sold on them. They came out of the All-Star break with a loss to Detroit, but then they come back, get a win against Houston. They lose the other night at Cleveland, come back with a win over Milwaukee. Well, today they've got the San Antonio Spurs, and Victor Wembanyama is been battling a little bit of fatigue. I was listening this morning to Tim McMahon, who was on with Hannah Storm and Jay Harris on SportsCenter, talking about how he may be battling this with a lot of the travel. They've been playing, a lot lately. I am believing that they're playing this in the Mecca. I think Wemby is about to put on a show today.
In MSG.
Yeah.
Let's do it. They're 1.5 point favorites, so it's supposed to be a close game, but the Spurs are really close on catching Oklahoma City right now, and OKC is dealing with a lot of injuries.
Yeah, they've won 11 in a row, and every time I hear anybody talking about where San Antonio fits as far as a title contender, everybody, at least on a national standpoint, says, well, they just, and they're right that they haven't even played in a playoff game. They haven't played in a play-in game, let alone a playoff series. But there's just, when I watch them and I watch him, I'm like, this dude he changes everything on both sides of the floor. Now, he's been, struggling, with the fatigue, so he's been struggling offensively, but it doesn't mean he hasn't been dominant defensively or, on that side of the floor. He changes just all the geometry of the floor. I don't know. I think they're going to be such a tough out that they could, as Tim McMahon, I thought, said it really well, skip the line and maybe vault into the NBA Finals this year.
Wemby had a block the other night, Will, where he literally didn't even have to move his heel off the ground to block it.
Incredible.
It's ridiculous. And they've already had OKC's number this year.
Mm-hmm.
They beat them on the season series. I think it was, 3-1? San Antonio's favor. So we might be getting an NBA Finals preview. Depends on if New York can lock in and get over the hump and get back to the finals. They haven't been there since, 2001, 1999, since the finals. Not winning, but
right,
NBA Finals.
So you got a possible preview of the NBA Finals. Another possible Western Conference Finals matchup will follow Knicks and Spurs, and that'll be the Nuggets hosting the Timberwolves. And then tonight, that's on ABC, and then tonight you've got on NBC and Peacock, Philadelphia going to Boston to take on the Celtics. So good stuff on the NBA on this Sunday. Combine continuing as they're getting ready to finish up. Brennan Thompson, 4.2640. That looks like that'll probably be the fastest at this year's combine. So
Where's the bell, Will?
He yep. There you go.
That's blistering fast.
Didn't break Xavier Worthy's 4.21, but that's moving. Really, the talk out of yesterday was Taylon Green, the quarterback out of Arkansas that set several combine records for that position. 4.3640 and a 43.5-inch vertical, a broad jump of 11.2, all of which are records. By the way, they just started keeping those since 2003, so no clue on anybody before that.
The best we've seen so far since 2003.
Because Tom Brady, may have been threatening for some of those records back in the day. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson Sr., who was selected number 4 in 2023, had the previous best. That span, he vertical of 40.5, so 43.5. That's 3.5 inch. That's really slamming that record. And then 11.2 over the 10.9. That's a little bit closer. A 4.440, and this one by Green was a 4.36. Impressive stuff from the quarterback out of Arkansas.
Second best time for a quarterback in combine history, Taylon Green. That's that just 4.36 is blistering, man. And shout out to Haynes King. He's a former A&M quarterback, played for Georgia Tech, got that motor in him. 4.46, not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Some college basketball today after a big Saturday. As always, the Big Ten in action. About a little over 15 minutes from now, Ohio State will host number 8 Purdue, and then later on Michigan State, the 13th ranked team in the country, will travel to Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. So both of those games on CBS. Some good matchups. We talked a lot about it early last hour. Florida just blows out Arkansas. They clinch a share of the SEC title. Arizona, Duke, incredibly impressive. Texas Tech going into Ames and getting the win. Now 3 straight without JT Tompin as he's lost for the season. That's really good stuff. Can't sleep on them anymore.
Can't sleep on them anymore. And speaking of Ames, they'll try to bounce back tomorrow at 8 p.m. on ESPN when they go on the road to take on Arizona, who might just be the best team in the country.
No doubt about it. So the PGA Tour is playing in the Cognizant Classic. So cognizant of the fact that Shane Lowry is at the top of the leaderboard. love any kind of tournament where you get, Shane Lowry near the top and Austin Smotherman both at 13 under par. But Max McGreevy had an albatross yesterday. You know the feeling when you're like really happy for somebody, but yet still pissed off at the same time? I get a text on Friday. I got a missed call from my brother-in-law and like 2 texts, and I'm working, so I didn't see it for like an hour or so later, where it's a picture of the scorecard. He did it incorrectly too, but he's like, just hold out from 200 out on 18 for an albatross. Max McGreevy in the PGA Tour in the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches yesterday had one as well, but my brother-in-law Joe had a 2 on a par 5 on 18. One thing I have never done on a golf course. That as well as never gotten a hole in one. And I was like, absolutely incredible. And I'm same point. I'm being like, F you.
I just picture you doing that on a golf course, like just being like just like kicking your shoes, like, oh, we'll get them next time.
Well, if we were gambling and that happened, I'd be really pissed.
Yeah,
really pissed. But that's awesome. Shout out Frisco Lakes and Joe Filipski. There you go. Nico Echevarria is one back with Taylor Moore at 12 under par. Not a very star-studded cast here for this group at Palm Beach Gardens in Florida. But I always like Joel Damon in there too, and he's 4 back at 9 under par. If you watch, Netflix golf. That totally escapes my mind right now, the name of it, whatever, but he's been a star in that. It's great. Brooks Koepka, 7 under par as he makes his return to the PGA Tour. So those are your latest headlines here, the news at noon here on 105.3 The Fan. All right, let's take a look at the quarterbacks that are out there and available and the best spots that we would put them. I have an opinion of what we may be looking at in Malik Willis, and we look at the number 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. We'll do that next here on The Fan.
And this next segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-333-3333. With Frankel and Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel and Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
This Elite Eight has created a rift now between my girlfriend. I was questioning our compatibility.
Y'all aren't on the same page?
No, we're not. No, we're not. Because of my enduring love for Toxic and 2000's Britney Spears. Look, is what it is.
You
is
hit
what
it
it
with
is.
the Britney bit right out of it. Right off the top of the rope.
Will Chambers, Eric Caceres here. We'll get back into that Elite Eight of those. Let's see who moves on with Dylan Moore. But before we get there, had a text earlier when it came to Fernando Mendoza. So we're going to have a little quarterback discussion here on this Sunday morning on 105.3 The Fan. The 630 about an hour ago. Am I missing something on Mendoza? He reads as the quintessential good in college, bad in the pros quarterback. Maybe a flyer late in the first round at best, mainly to get the fifth-year rookie option if he does hit. Now, again, I said this before. I think what the Tolo is saying there that as far as a draft grade, late first round, taking a flyer, I mean, he's going number one.
Yeah.
Unless he gets caught, with a hooker and an ounce of blow or at some point here before the draft, then this guy is going number one, whether or not he's taken by the Raiders who need a lot of help or whatever it may be.
I don't know if you saw, Will, but he said at the Combine the other day, which this is going to be an awesome meme someday, especially if he ends up being, pretty rough of a QB. He said that I am unemployed. I have no job. That's what he said at the Combine. So imagine all the pictures and the memes that are going to be posted if he has, one bad game in the NFL.
No doubt. I was reading this earlier. We're also going to talk a little bit about some other quarterbacks that are available or look to be available here heading into the 2026 season. I thought this was an interesting little, not just topic, but a little survey that's being done, an exercise, if you will, by Matt Miller of ESPN, who got to polling NFL scouts and decision makers, analysts to help build the list of the first round quarterbacks taken from 2021 to 2025 and ranking them.
Okay.
Number one. And by the way, those that are in this, we're talking Trevor Lawrence, Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Drake May, et cetera, et cetera. Number one is Caleb Williams. I think this will probably be up for a lot of debate there.
So this is 2021 to now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Burrow's out.
So, I was about to say, Burrow's out. Caleb Williams, number one?
Yeah, number one.
Okay. I don't hate it.
Again, because I'm thinking here, up until before last year, I think you'd be having C.J. Stroud there.
If it wasn't for...
But he is down at number 7 on this list, and I got to say, I agree. It's bad. He's looked bad the last 2 years.
Where's Bryce Young?
So, Bryce Young comes in at number 5.
Okay, because I know that's kind of been the ongoing debate. Is is C.J. Stroud better than Bryce Young at this point?
Yeah. So it's Caleb Williams followed by Trevor Lawrence. And I think the reason for this, and, obviously up for debate, but the year that he had last year, where it really just seemed to change. He had a terrific year last year. Over 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns. Jags go 13-4. Now, I would still have Jaden Daniels probably at number 2. But he's got him here at number 3. And again, this is, polling all of those. Followed by Drake May, then Bryce Young. Zach Wilson at number 6.
What?
Yes. Now they're talking about him, as a prospect moving in because again, he's like pulling all those like coming into the draft as to where they are, not on how they performed in the
everybody
NFL.
Geeked out of that one pro throw that he made, and it's like, oh my goodness, this guy's a generational quarterback. Look at the arm, and then it didn't end up working out.
He's got Mendoza here at 8. The top quarterback in the current draft class, Mendoza, hasn't received the hype of former number 1 overall picks, but is deserving of all the love as he enters his pre-draft cycle. He's a clean, crisp passer who excels with pinpoint accuracy, on-time decision-making, and enough mobility to threaten defenses. Then AFC East scout said, quote, he'll bore you to death and then beat you by 40 points.
Love it.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. Dan Orlovsky was on Get Up earlier in the week and said, and he qualified it and made sure that he stated very clearly and a number of times that he had only watched the first half of the season, and maybe not even the first half, but, first slew of games of Mendoza on tape, and said the tape is underwhelming. Now, he said, now I know that, this could obviously change. The more I look at tape moving on, we know that he played really well throughout the rest of this season, which is correct. Because if you look back at the beginning of the year, Indiana's coming off of a really good season out of absolutely nowhere, right? Yeah. Completely out of the woodwork. And now, okay, well, they're not going to do it again. Yeah, they're returning some players, but it's Indiana, flash in the pan. And early in the year, they played Old Dominion. They won by 13, 27-14. Mendoza went 18 of 31, 193 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Did have a rushing touchdown, but didn't show a whole lot. Kennesaw State, they blew them out. Their first 3 games, they didn't play anybody. They're playing, FCS schools.
The tide shifted.
Indiana State was in there.
The tide started to shift, though.
It did.
On the latter half. So
Late
I understand.
September, Illinois, where he went 21 of 23, 267, 5 touchdowns, and 0 picks. So it might have been just the first few games. But anyway, I was like, yeah, because it wasn't until the end of the year. And this is when I thought, the guy is just an absolute winner. Absolute winner. But he's a better quarterback than ones that are just like, you looked at some of those old, like A.J. McCarron was a winner. Come on. Greg McElroy. Come on. We knew that those Alabama quarterbacks were bus drivers, right?
It was J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I always push back on the McCarthy thing only because during that senior season, I think it was the right tackle that was lost for the year in the Penn State game. And they tried to throw the ball, and they couldn't do it because he had guys in his face. And so, Jim Harbaugh's like, no, we're running it with Blake Corum. We're going to protect JJ.
Yeah.
I thought JJ was very capable and at times, showed that. But this whole thing about him being, they just handed it off. Yeah, they did that for a specific reason, that their offensive line took a drastic hit, in the middle of the season, and it was very different. So, but in watching Mendoza, he doesn't, we get so enamored with all these traits, the stuff that Caleb Williams has. It elevated Anthony Richardson so much. And I'm like, y'all, did you watch any of those games? Did you watch the tape? That's not, but sometimes I think we get too enamored by those. And I think he's got good traits, but maybe not great traits. And I believe he's not going to be good, but a great quarterback in the NFL. Yet it is always, and this is imperative, that it always matters as to where you go and the situation you go into. I don't know about the Raiders being great for him because I don't know about that franchise at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, situation matters so much, and the Raiders haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round since Jamarcus Russell. That didn't work out. So, I mean, look, when you go to these poverty organizations and you have I mean, for people that don't understand how bad that Raiders offensive line, just go watch every game that they were in. I mean, Ashton Genty had no chance. Geno Smith had no chance. We talk about the regression that Geno had, but his offensive line also didn't give him any help either. So, again, you're getting the best quarterback in the draft, no doubt, the number 1 overall pick. But it's like, is that situation going to work out for him? Would it be any different if he got drafted to, I don't know, maybe a team that's a little bit more competent that needs a QB? I don't know, let's say the Dolphins. The Dolphins would be a better situation than the Raiders. So, again, as situation matters, I 100% agree with you.
I got a question for y'all. Dylan, do you, Eric Caceres, remember who Matt Flynn is?
Oh, of course. Will.
Okay.
2013, Matt Flynn came back against the horrible 2013 Cowboys defense at AT&T Stadium. I remember watching this game vividly in 8th grade.
Really?
We were up 30, it was 30 to 10 at halftime. Something crazy. And Tony Romo was hurt in this game, I believe. No, actually, Tony Romo wasn't hurt in this game. But he also threw a crucial pick in that game, by the way. But Matt Flynn brings them all the way back, and that was a game that the Cowboys needed to win to keep their playoff hopes alive. They lost that game. They blew that game, ended up going 8-8, missed the playoffs. But, man, I remember that game vividly because that was Matt Flynn on his Linsanity run. What was the final score of that game? It was like OT.
37
versus the Packers.
37 to
Matt Flynn
36.
versus Cowboys, AT&T Stadium. What was the score?
37 to 36.
What was that?
37-36 was the final score.
37-36.
Cowboys led 26 to 3
game.
at halftime. 26 to 3 was the halftime deficit.
Oh my goodness.
Wait a minute.
I'm telling you, it was a Matt Flynn legacy game.
I'm not seeing that anywhere here.
2013. It was week 15, week 4. It was late in the season.
This is a crazy, Eric. December 15th, 2013. His second stint with the Packers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know who Matt Flynn is, Will Chambers.
But that's not, all right.
I know who Matt Flynn is.
That's not where I was going with it,
I'm
though.
sorry.
Because I'm wait a minute. I forgot that he went back to Green Bay.
Continue.
So what I mean by this is he got that huge contract to go to Seattle after throwing for 6 touchdowns, 480 yards, 70% completion percentage against Detroit in the final game of the regular season in 2012. Then he went from the Packers to the Seahawks, signed a huge deal, did not even keep or get the starting job because it would end up going to Russell Wilson. So yeah, that's right. He ends up going over to, back over to Green Bay. But my point being there is, okay, Malik Willis, it's only been 2 games that we saw him play this year. And now look, I will say this. I think he looks better. All right. The Matt Flynn thing was a total fluke. I liked Malik Willis coming out of Auburn. I felt like he was, you mentioned the word project earlier, that could have been, a pretty good project. I don't know about him being the franchise quarterback coming out right away, and playing for Tennessee. And it was a really, really cold game in Chicago. He went 9 of 11, 121 yards and a touchdown. I was like, okay, yeah, all right, a little something. Then he went 18 of 21 against Baltimore, 288 yards and a touchdown, and now we're talking about $30 million a year.
It happens, man. Quarterbacks play their way to a big contract to some team that needs a quarterback, desperate for a quarterback, and it probably doesn't work out. But at least with Malik Willis, he has that dual threat ability, and now he's gotten a year to kind of work on his game, work on his accuracy, work on, the mechanic, everything that makes you a competent quarterback in this league. I'd give him another chance. Coming out of Liberty, I wasn't a huge fan of him, but I also don't think
Auburn,
he was...
Liberty. He started at Auburn.
He started at Auburn, yeah. But I don't think he's somebody that you can't pay this guy. If it was Anthony Richardson,
yeah,
I would be a little bit more concerned.
There's more there.
Yeah,
there's definitely more there.
Yes,
but I mean, $30 million. Whoa, Man,
Quarterback
off
market
2
is insane.
games, that's a little crazy for
Well,
me.
he did have some good games last year because Jordan Love was hurt last year too. Remember?
Yeah. Those are the 2 games. Those are the 2 I'm talking about.
Oh, from last year?
Last year with Green Bay. And, when you kind of play the game, and they do this, everywhere in sports talk, TV and radio, like, what's the best situation for, like, this quarterback? They should go where? Well, every single one of them should be Minnesota, right? Now, Minnesota, there's some news earlier that there's going to be some cap casualties there with Aaron Jones and somebody else. I saw it earlier. But it's still a very good roster. A couple years removed from having an insanely good year in which they lost 3 games. And you've got Kevin O'Connell, which I believe is one of the best coaches in the NFL and certainly one for quarterbacks and quarterback development. So, yeah, you feel like if you put anybody there that has some NFL experience, like Geno Smith is one. People talk about Kyler Murray. Anybody's going to be made better by being with Kevin O'Connell. The Geno Smith thing is interesting only because in reading Jeremy Fowler earlier saying that, this is a lot of teams are hoping the Raiders cut him because they feel that it was the offensive system that really held him back and that he actually could play, pretty well for them. They like now whether or not, Minnesota is one of those teams. Kyler, obviously all the talent in the world, but I mean, what's his
mindset,
desire and will to become great? So very, very interesting, but I wanted to kind of throw it out there. All right, back at it. Now this has turned into another text thread in which, so the whole thing is my girlfriend's going nuts because of the fact that we were in this discussion whether or not I'm going to choose toxic over lose yourself if it comes down to it. She's not happy with me. She's making fun of me. Now we're on, another text thread where it's being discussed there. We'll get back into the Elite Eight of 2000s bangers next.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group
Listen all this week in the 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. hour for your chance to see the Eagles at Globe Life Field. Just one of the many reasons to turn it on and leave it on. 105.3 The Fan.
This next segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine, #1 Chevy dealership in the world, 3 years straight. They've got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference based on new Chevy registrations 2023 through 2025.
Heading our way up to Rangers spring training baseball here on your home of the Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan, YouTube, Twitch, and 105.3thefan.com. That'll be at 2 o'clock today as they take on the Mariners. With Jacob Lutz taking the ball for the Rangers. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres with Dylan Moore here on this Sunday afternoon on The Fan. Appreciate you hanging with us. What was learned about the college football season after this scouting combine here from the NFL this week? We'll have that for you coming up top of the hour, but time to get back into the Rick 6 in hour 2. It was a Sweet 16 bracket style of 2000s pop hits that we voted on, and this has been controversial. Controversial. It has.
But mostly because of the seating.
I think the seating, yes, and apparently my affinity for the song
Britney
Toxic.
Spears. Yeah, you and your girlfriend. Hey,
look, I am very comfortable in my masculinity to say that Toxic I was slipping under. It's the fact of the matter.
It happens.
Look,
it does happen.
If you're around my age in college at that time, man, that was fun. Girls loved it. I loved it.
Well, now we got an Elite 8.
I was one with it. Yeah. So here's the Elite 8.
And here's the Elite 8. So we got #1 seed, Yeah, versus #9, Drop It Like It's Hot. And before we get into this, I do want to say shout out to the Tolos that have been weighing in on these debates. 877-881-1053. We want you guys to help us decide a winner. It's not just about us. It's about you as well. So we'll go ahead and continue in on into this Elite 8. But first up, we got the first matchup, Yeah versus Drop It Like It's Hot. #1 seed. This is a banger.
Okay.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
What are we feeling in the mood, Will Chambers?
Man, this is tough because if we're going specific, like banger, Yeah is more of a banger. That was like at that point of the night when this song came on, when it came out, like it was like the DJ was always saving that for pretty much the end of the night. Drop It Like It's Hot, though, is iconic because of just the term drop it like it's hot. So which had more cultural impact? Probably Drop It Like It's Hot. But if I'm going for what is the actual banger of a song, I go with Yeah. I like Snoop better, but I'm going to go with the how do you put it? The spirit of what this actually is. So I'm gonna go with Usher here.
I respect that breakdown. What do you think, Dylon?
I'm just going with what I think is the better song overall, and that'd be Usher's Yeah. I think overall it's just a better song. So keep it
would say,
simple.
Will, that's your version of toxic masculinity. Well,
so we got some Tolos weighing in, and I did say I want you guys to help us vote this next round. So Drop It Like It's Hot, Snoop Dogg from the 479. Drop It Like It's Hot is a 9 seed. Yeah, this song from its time, so it takes it. So we already got 2 Drop It Like It's Hot. We got 940 saying Usher, no doubt. You're saying Usher. Dylon saying Usher. I think it's Usher. So at this point right now, that makes it 3 versus 3. We need someone to decide this. Drop It Like It's Hot or Usher. 877-881-1053. Who is going to be moving on? I just need one of y'all. Just one of y'all tell me who is moving on. I think Usher. As of right now, we all think Usher. But we got a couple Drop It Like It's Hot. Looks like we have one more Usher. Okay, one more Usher. So Usher takes the tiebreaker just like that. Is moving on. to the Final Four. Let's get into the next matchup. Number 12 versus 4. Give us number 4, Dylan. So not your favorite Outkast song, according to Will Chambers, but nonetheless still a 4 seed. And it has to go up against the upset over Since You've Been Gone, number 12 seed.
So they had them apple bottom jean boots with the fur. The whole club was looking at her. She hit the floor.
All right, I'll hold back. I'll let you guys go first.
You know, I think I'm going with the upset. This is a Cinderella story for Apple Bottom Jeans Low. I think when this song came out, from a culture standpoint, from a banger standpoint, I just think it's, and I agree with you, Hey Ya is not Outkast's best song. So I think from a more banger hit standpoint, I'm going with the Cinderella story. Give me Low to move on.
I didn't even vote for Hey Ya in the first round. I voted Kelly Clarkson.
That's true.
So I'm going Flo Rida here.
All right. Look, I absolutely love Outkast, but I'm going Low.
Really? We're clean
it's a better
sweeping a
banger.
12 versus 4
Yeah.
seed. I mean,
Yeah.
we did say the seeding was a little questionable. We got Mortolos weighing in. Usher, song number 1 for like 6 months. Usher for sure. There we go.
Yeah.
903 says Low, and we got a 817 saying Nelly.
Got a 12 seed in the Final Four.
We've got a 12 seed in the Final Four. 214 says Low isn't a better song. It's more popular. Has to be the upset here. Low from the 479. Looks like everybody's going with the Cinderella story of Low. So that means Low is moving on. We have a 12 seed.
Women
into
still
the
dance
Final
to
Four.
Flo Rida in 2026. That is
That's facts.
facts.
That is facts. All right, here we go. We got a 3 versus 11 seed. Let's hear it, Dylan. Number 3.
Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps
Such an
on
incredible
forgetting what he
song.
wrote down. The whole
And they'll be taking on.
Still playing in so many sports, like features and stuff like that. You always get this music going to denote somebody that's grinded their way up or whatever. Such a great
Can we
tune.
objectively admit that this is like the best 3 seed of all time? Like this is like the definition of like consistency right here.
I mean, it is what it still slaps. I'll say that.
Who are they going to be taking on, Dylan?
Now they saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. I ain't saying she a gold
I
digger.
meant to say something to you in the break on that. I'm glad you caught that one.
Damn, girl, go ahead, get down.
I mean, I'm gonna go with Lose Yourself. Man, Kanye during that time was just cranking out some absolute gems. Just that was his pinnacle. Was around this time. Graduation. This wasn't on Graduation, but yeah, I'm going Eminem here.
Dylan?
Yeah,
Uh-oh. You had a little bit of crossroads?
I think I am. I'm in agreement with Eminem there.
Yeah, I just think, Kanye...
I mean, what a start to a song. Does any song start better than that?
Yeah,
Like
with
just the
Jamie
build-up to
Foxx.
it?
Yeah.
Or are you talking
which
about Lose
one?
Yourself?
Lose Yourself.
Yeah,
Right
no,
off the rip.
Okay, yeah.
I think the build-up is what makes the song.
Yeah.
Just like, it's like, oh,
Mom's Spaghetti, 100%.
it's like, here it comes.
Yeah, we got a few though coming in here for Gold Digger.
We got a couple Gold Diggers.
Yeah, it's
not
good
literally,
song,
but-
man. That's a good song.
Everybody 940 no brainer. Pete Kanye was amazing though. Oh, okay, so they're picking Lose Yourself. Okay,
Yeah.
So we got a couple Gold Diggers, got a couple M&Ms. We got a clean sweep here. I'm going with Lose Yourself. I think it's the most consistent number 3 seed in this tournament. 479 says 8 Mile all day, son. Here we go. So Lose Yourself will be moving on into the Final Four. We got one more matchup to decide the Elite 8. Number 2 versus 7. Let's hear the number 2 seed, Dylan.
So good. Such a great song.
We're going to have a great Final Four.
Yeah, we are.
How underrated is Alicia Keys?
Is she?
I think so.
I think underrated, not bad. I used to get Alicia Keys and
She turned more classical, I think, after this kind of era. Has she come out with anything in the last 5-6 years?
I couldn't tell you anything.
That's a good question.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All that matters.
I kind of go properly rated with Alicia Keys, who's sensational, but I think she's looked at that way. The only time I think we ever see or hear from her is at she'll perform at the Grammys. You have these performers that they go on 10-year runs where they may not come out with any music, but it doesn't matter. They still perform at the Grammys every single year.
Yeah, no doubt.
She's that good.
All right, and they're going up against number 7 seed, which brought a little bit of controversy in the Will Chambers household.
One of Will's loves.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Look, if you do not love this song, if you were...
Will's feeling himself here.
I'm telling you right now, you're just lying to yourselves. You want to be strong dude, strong man. No. You know you love the song. You might have been in your car by yourself, cranking it out there. Nope, that was, mark that.
Clip it.
Didn't even mean that in that way. But, you're just jamming out in the car by yourself. I am one that is willing to absolutely admit to the world that I love that song, like many others out there.
You got
do.
682 backing you up. Toxic.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm going, I think we all know where I stand here.
Okay.
And the fact the committee put it as a 7 seed, I find it to be absolutely disrespectful. Yeah, they're coming in now. Yeah, they're all coming in.
Man,
it's
everybody's
toxic.
going with Toxic.
We all know it. We all
Dylan,
know
what
it.
do you think, man? Are you going against Empire State of Mind?
Oh, man.
682, New York is about a city that can't stop talking about itself.
That is what
the
it's
music
about.
video from Toxic.
Dude, I think Toxic's got to move on. The Tollers are just they're hammering Toxic right now.
The section
Everybody's
I played
in on
from
it.
Empire State of Mind is better than Toxic, but the whole song.
Look, if we're talking about the quality of the song, Empire State of Mind is a better quality of song. But when we're out, this is the best bangers. If we're out at a club and it's 2004. They weren't out at the same time, but if they both came out at the same time, it's 2004.
Britney Spears.
The roof is coming off during Toxic, not necessarily as much with Empire State of Mind.
Just because I think it'll last longer, Toxic.
Wow. Look, I can't go against the Tollers. I got to go with Toxic here. I got to go with Toxic here.
Okay,
We got a Final
go.
Four.
Final Four to be determined coming up at 11:20. But coming up next, what we learned about the college football season from the Combine this week. That's next here on The Fan.
The more time you give, the more D&M Leasing Studios. Thanks for turning it on and leaving it on. 105.3 The Fan.
All right, final hour on this Sunday afternoon here on DFW Sports Station 105.3 The Fan. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres, Dylan Moore back in the Cup, an hour away from Rangers baseball as they take on the Mariners from Surprise. And that's exactly where KNC and the G-Bag Nation will be starting tomorrow. And they're all week. Always look forward to this week with the guys out there. But, I mean, I think I could speak for most of us. What we're all waiting for the most, the clubhouse interviews with Eric and Zach and the guys. Those are the best. Those are the best. By the way, I want to make sure I get to this. So many of you texting in, love it. Getting more love than I did in hour one with the Luka talk. So I've got everybody back on my side when it comes to Toxic. It will be you, the Tolos, deciding who wins in the final four of the 2000s banger hits between Yeah and Low and Lose Yourself and Toxic. It will be the Tolos, the people. That is exactly what we will be doing. That's all coming up in 20 minutes. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a great week. Stay tuned all week here, but those have been so much fun over the years. I'm reading from Scott, I think it's Doctorman. Anyway, he's a Big Ten writer, staff writer for The Athletic and college football. And he was going through kind of, what he had learned at the Combine about this past year's college football season. And, I talked a little bit about the players, and the discussions they have. Indiana, the players there, they're kind of nudge the conversation away from, the playoff title and more towards their NFL futures. I thought this was interesting. Others were eager to talk about their former coaches and discuss the changes at their schools, including the Ole Miss players still harboring animosity toward former coach Lane Kiffin. And I get it, but I get it from both sides. If you're Lane Kiffin, I guess you do it knowing that you're going to be the villain in this story, but what are your options? LSU's not going to wait. I mean, and LSU is one of those jobs. LSU, I'm sorry to anybody, that's from Mississippi or Ole Miss fan or, alum. LSU is a better job. Look, I went to Kentucky. If we had, a great run and then all of a sudden, Kellen DeBoer gets fired and, a coach leaves before a college football playoff game that we miraculously got into the playoff, to go to Bama,
yeah.
I'm going to be like, well,
I understand.
I get it. I mean, now I get, some of the players being a little ticked off, but it's the way that the calendar is set up and the system is set up that you go, I can't blame Lane Kiffin for doing it, I mean, I was rooting for Ole Miss in the story for them to go on and to win, and it was so much fun with Chambliss. But, I guess just looking back to it. By the way, the memes of I have 3 times this morning gotten the meme of Lane Kiffin's head as in the Iranian gear as being the new Ayatollah. Has anybody else gotten that yet today?
I have not.
Yeah.
I'm very curious now,
being hired as the next Ayatollah of Iran. So, as of course, all that stuff's going on, what's going on in the world politically. But these were interesting, right? What's next for Clemson? So, they finished 7-6 in 2025. Their worst overall record since 2010. And I had totally forgotten about, the whole situation there and how they looked like coming into the year. And I remember thinking beginning of the season as I'm, going through my previews and all that kind of stuff going, yeah, they've got some serious firepower on offense and Cade Klubnik, coming back and all that. I wonder where that program is going to be 5 years from now. Because you think about where other schools are, and it's a totally, obviously different college football world that we're living in from not too long ago when it was Clemson and Alabama. They were the two powers in college football for a, good 5 to 7 year period? They won all of them.
Some insane NFL talent on those teams, too.
Yeah. So, and it's very different now, but this is a cautionary tale of ego taking over for what your job really is. And your job is to win, not to preach and not to do, be holier than thou on, what should and should not be done. Because there is good debate on both sides of the NIL argument and the transfer argument. On both sides. Should you commit to something and then be able to get out of your commitment? Well, I think circumstances, should tell every story there, right? I think that players should have the opportunity to go elsewhere if they feel like I could get a better opportunity somewhere else, get on the field more to showcase my talent so that I can have more of a resume going into my next job, which is the NFL. We can't fault a kid that at all. But can you also have some guardrails here? Where you got some of these guys that are playing on 5, 6 different teams in 4 years.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years. That's insane. We shouldn't be allowing for that type of system. You know what I mean? And I think Dabo Swinney has absolutely put his program basically circling the drain.
Yeah, they didn't end the season well at all. I mean, they just 7-6, but they got outplayed in that bowl game against Penn State, and Penn State had their issues this year. Wasn't Penn State like a preseason number 2 or 3 team in the country coming in?
I think they were number 4.
Yeah, with Franklin and then all that.
Wait, who? Penn State?
Penn State.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Clemson. Yeah, Penn State was...
Was they 2? Were they 2?
I think they were 2. They were my number 1.
Okay, yeah, they came in number 2. And
I had them at number 1.
Yeah, and then their coach.
But they... Yeah, those are the 2 biggest disappointments in college football this season.
They played in a bowl game, and Penn State dominated them. It was 22-10, but Clemson only averaged about 3.6 yards a play. They had 236 total yards in the whole game.
Yeah,
and they did nothing. And so it's really uncharacteristic to see a Dabo Swinney team just fall off the face of the earth in just a few set of years, like you were mentioning.
Yeah, it's absolutely nuts, and you have to embrace certain things, but I think you can also do it, the right way in which you're going to have players coming and going, but what kind of culture are you setting at your place? I look at Dabo seems to be always just shouting at the wind. What is that doing? And, the way that he kind of, during a week with a certain opponent and there are these barbs done in the media, I'm not good. I'm when you look at what Texas Tech is doing, when you look at what, Texas is doing, that's where you need to go with it. And I thought it was interesting looking back at, the college football season and how, you had a lot of players that were talking about it and they're supporting, their guy like Wade Woodaz. I think it's Woodaz. Coach Swinney has a process. He's had a lot of success. He knows what to do. I think they're back on the right track. I'm not happy that my senior year we went 7-6, but I think it was needed for the trajectory of Clemson. And he said, well, how should they get back on the right trajectory? I would say just get the guys in the room who love Clemson. I think Coach Swinney did that using the portal this year. Okay.
Well,
no. That tells me that you're missing the boat. you're completely missing what this is really all about. All of us, as fans of a school, would love to have all the players in that room be like, all about, I'm just all about. That's not reality. You got, and if you're going to do that, you're going to be Clemson. That's what you're going to be, and you're going to go 7-6. You might get some like really good players and like really disappoint, but every company wants to go for, like in sales, hired guns, or people that have that mentality. That's kind of what a lot of these transfers are.
Yeah.
That's what you need in college football. I think that they're just completely missing the boat in reading this. That's really what I thought from them. I mean, Indiana went from absolute zero to hero by going and completely getting all transfers. All of them. You don't have Indiana guys in there. You know how much people in Bloomington and throughout that state of Indiana care right now? Not one little bit. They got a banner. They got a national championship banner going up. It doesn't matter when it comes to all that. What about you on the state of college football?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, I think that 817 brought up a good point in terms of need to go back to if you transfer, you're not eligible for the next year. You have to sit out a year before you play. And with eligibility and NIL, people have their opinions on that.
I think it's your second transfer. I think if you transfer once, okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You had, circumstances, you committed there coming out of high school.
It didn't work out.
It's not working out. You want to go somewhere else. Okay, no penalty there. But then you go to a second team, you can't join them, or you have to have some sort of academic standards here, because at the end of the day, I know that we're talking about they are professional now to a certain degree because they are being paid, but they better still be student athletes. Mm-hmm. They better still be students. Not just like completely moving around and having, going to school, for a few months, just, getting yourself admitted there and then moving. Like, there has to be some standard there.
Yeah, the thing that's always baffled me about NIL too is like just how much money these young like adults are making. It's like it's crazy. Like thinking about how much, like they're making $10 million sometimes. It's like, can you imagine like someone like me who just like fresh out of high school gets recruited and I'm making $10 million in my first year in college? Like that's just insane.
Well, I know, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem with anybody making money. I just don't have it.
It's
there.
not a problem. It's just
the
more of a, like, it's just
brings
crazy
up
to
like
process.
What if you're following the coach that recruited you? Yeah, again,
I love
absolutely.
It. I love that.
Now, I mean, I think that there's ways, and I know. I don't know why the president's getting in on this, but hey, I mean, if you're bringing everybody together to discuss this and to get it, because it's not happening fast enough. They're not getting through it. There needs to be some sort of central governing element to this, because I totally disagree with the 817 who are saying the transfer portal and NIL has completely destroyed college football. I don't think anything's destroyed. I think, if anything, it's actually elevated it. College football has never been better than it is now.
100%.
I mean, you have so much more parity. Indiana, like, if the transfer portal and the NIL isn't what it is, like 60% of you out there listening right now, your schools would have no prayer of ever winning a title or ever going to a playoff. Now, you pretty much all feel like, hey, we might have a shot. You get a good coach in there, you get a good, transfer class. You could get there.
Yeah.
Look, Indiana was the absolute worst college football program in the sport, in the history of the sport, up until Curt Cignetti got there. Most losses ever. And then this year, it finally got out of the basement and then won a national championship.
And more impressively, they didn't even do it with 5-star guys.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they were dominant.
I think that it is the 817 must be a Bama fan.
Yep. I mean, that's how it used to be. Bama was so dominant.
That's probably so accurate. I just think that they have to get to, these guardrails and, setting it up to where it's not as chaotic. That's really it. That's the whole thing right there.
Well, I was a transfer student myself because I started at Oklahoma.
Right.
And I transferred to A&M. And I transferred because my coach got fired. And that was a big he recruited me out of high school. And so when he got fired, I'm like, man, well, I want to go where he's going, I mean, so I completely agree with that. What if you go with a coach to recruit you? Because that's what I was going to do. Then he ended up not college coaching anymore, and I went somewhere else. I found a good gig. But, I mean, point is, it's like, that's important.
It is time. 877-881-1053. Text in on the Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys fan text. Your votes will win the best in the bracket of the 2000s pop hits bangers next.
But first, I want to tell you about the Arlington Grand Prix that is coming to Arlington, Texas, March 13th through the 15th. The best IndyCar racers around the world come to race in Arlington for the first time ever. There's going to be live concerts with gay admission, fan favorites, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Texas Rangers six-shooters, Rowdy of the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. You're going to have chances for autographs, thrilling stunts from the Globe of Death squad. Again, that's going to be a 2.73-mile course that goes around AT&T Stadium and Globe Life Field in Arlington. The Arlington Grand Prix, March 13th through the 15th.
Take us with you wherever you go. Now
And more with your car. Kroger, Texas proud since 1955.
This next segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Frankels. If you've been injured in a car or truck wreck, call Frankel first. 214-817-3333-3333. With Frankel & Frankel, there's never an out-of-pocket cost. They only get paid when you win. Frankel & Frankel, the go-to car and truck wreck attorneys in Dallas.
Thank you, Dylan. The time is now. We're going to get you updated as to what's happening in the NBA coming up in just a little bit. But the Rick Six today, which we started at 11:40. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres, and Dylan Moore here with you. Eric had the Sweet 16 edition as we're heading towards March Madness here on this March 1st. Where he had 16 songs, bracket style, who was moving on from the 2000s pop hits bangers. And this has come to a lot of controversy.
Controversy because of seating, yeah.
Controversial. Try to use both with one.
But not just with him, but also with you and your girl.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of her friends on the text message. So if Yeah doesn't win, you were born after 1995. That song was so big and played every club, no matter the demographic. The country DJ will pull that song out.
Well, I was born after 1995, so.
So was I. But hey, that doesn't diminish anything.
It is not our votes that will determine the winner of this one in our Final Four. 877-881-1053.
And they're already
coming in.
They're already coming in.
They're coming in. And also some epitaphs coming, at least my way. But that's fine.
All right.
You know.
Well, let's go ahead and lay the matchups down for those that are still tuning in. So we got number 1 seed, Yeah, versus number 12 seed, Low. Let's get a little bit of the song preview here to just pump up the.
You can keep it going. If it came on right now, like people would, they would go off on it.
We didn't even talk about Luda. Take back, wind it back. Like that. There's so many good parts about this song. It's just like,
no doubt about it. It still to this day holds and would set off the club, especially if you are 40 and up, because that's what you're real big going out days when this song came out. No doubt. And it's taken on the 12 seed, which is another
banger.
Yes.
And this is a Cinderella story because this was the 12 seed, and they had to, they had to go through some good songs to get here. I'm just saying, this is a banger too, man.
This when it came out hit super hard too, but it didn't hit as much as Yeah, in my opinion, and definitely did not last as long. As somebody had texted in earlier, like this was 6 months of it being number 1 or something. We're all just going off top of our head, but that's
like
it.
We got people weighing in. Looks like Usher. We got gets the people going. Yeah, just like Blades of Glory. Shout out.
Yeah. So it came out around 07. I graduated then. Our prom was changed after hours because of it.
Lots of bumping and
yeah. Heck yeah, man.
Love it.
That's the 2000s. All right, so that is matchup number 1.
Matchup number 1. Matchup number 2. We got a 3 versus 7 seed here. We'll kick it off.
Okay, hold on here. Let me set this up a little bit because before, so Becca's back at home listening.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
And we're going through it, and Dylan had accidentally slipped in Toxic before its matchup was coming up in the first one. I was like, already I was disappointed that Toxic was not a 1 seed.
Yeah.
Now, I think Yeah is deserving of it, but I think Toxic could have definitely been the 2 seed. Be that as it may. Britney was an icon, absolute icon. Well, in that first round, it took on Into Club, which is just an unfortunate matchup for the 10 seed there with Fitty. That was another big time one. Incredible one. In fact, that probably had a run that is only overtaken by Yeah. I mean, if we could look up, I don't know, what was number one, how long were these songs number one for how many weeks, whatever. I bet Into Club is right up there with Yeah, but probably just behind it. But Becca, she thought it was like Lose Yourself. And I was like, no, it was In the Club, whatever. And I said I'd still take Toxic over it. And she's like, you like Britney over Eminem? I was like, that's not what this is about.
So this is
I take Eminem. But Britney's 2000 was elite.
So what you're saying,
and this has turned into an entire thing.
So what you're saying is it was inevitable that we were going to get to this matchup.
I guess. I thought it worked out pretty perfectly, the fact that now it's not my decision. We all know where I stand with it. That is what it is. So now we let the Tolos decide between the 7 seed and the 3 seed. Dylan.
Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already.
Dylan was cooking when he said this is like the biggest hype up start of a song.
But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking.
If you were playing sports during a time when 8 Mile came out, how many times were you listening to this before a game? A lot.
Got to be one of the best pre-game songs ever.
But when you are, 22, 23, 24 years old, like I was when this song came out, and you were out at the club, I mean, all the girls were obsessed with Britney. And these songs absolutely kicked. And this is... All right, there we go. Let it ride. Let it ride.
It's still going. A lot of people already making their comments known. Lose Yourself by far. Does it have what it takes?
Now, again, and I'm wondering on the spirit of this discussion, because if we're out at the club and this song plays, yeah, like people would like it, but does it set off like it would if this song was played?
Bring the Britney, bring him back.
Yeah, look, you don't have to be a gay man to absolutely, and look, the gay male population, definitely huge Britney fans. I am not a gay man, but I was a huge Britney fan. I'm right there with it, along with every girl that was alive at this time, pretty much. So, as a young black man, Toxic is top 3.
And it's not 3.
And it's not 3.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay. So let's see. We've got, I'm looking back through this now. I mean, this may be tougher than I thought between Usher and Flo Rida.
Yeah.
Again, 877-881-1053. Text in your votes between Yeah and Low versus Lose Yourself, and then Lose Yourself versus Toxic.
It's supposed
and
to
then
be...
who are we finishing up with the best? So, not even close. Toxic might have the girls move in, but Lose Yourself would have the whole club rolling. I don't know. Khaki Kev is back there, too. I think we got more people in there. Dylan, open it up back in the Pimp Cup.
They're taking it over.
As per the usual, the gaggle
Kevin,
of producers
Jed, Adam,
yeah.
Trevor's around here.
Okay. All right, guys back there, I mean, y'all are quite a bit younger than me. I was actually alive and in college when these songs came out. Do these songs get played at clubs? Do you guys still go to clubs? Do they get played?
I don't go to clubs, but I think your theory of Toxic in the club, banger. Lose Yourself in a club it's gonna make people feel a little weird. But
yeah,
it just determines, hey, like, where are we playing this? That needs to be factored into the seating.
I mean, I think it still ran at a club pretty well. I mean, just the boom, 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 boom with your hand, with your arm up.
And remember, we're thinking bangers, Khaki Kev, too. Not just club, but think bangers.
Yeah, I think it was so iconic. Jet, I know Jet, Adam, everybody's ready to get in on this.
Jet, you got to be a Toxic guy.
Definitely that Lose Yourself intro
is part of a mix, even if it isn't the full song, the dun dun dun. Dun. But I don't feel like I've heard Toxic around. Not that I'm like Kevin, I'm not big on the club scene either. But I just don't feel like Toxic, when in its prime though, you can't deny it. So, so tough.
Yeah. Man, this is really split.
And
940 Toxic. M is the best song, but not a club banger. Let's see. Lose Yourself. Let's see.
Oh, they're already projecting the final here.
Yeah, Lose Yourself versus Yeah wins it finally easily. Bailey the Bird weighing in here. M not close. Let's see. Toxic has grown men in the bar singing it. I don't. Are you guys looking at this? Can you come with a consensus here on the fan text? I don't know if I can.
I don't think grown men in the bar in a mass population are seeing it as much as they're just bumping to it.
Oh, it looks like Black Adam's got something to say. What you got, bro?
Okay, so as someone who was a huge Eminem fan in high school, I'm going to give it to Toxic. Because... Okay, no. Listen, I am one of the grown men that has sang Toxic at a bar before. On Fry Street at North Texas, they played it once, and I did sing it. And Toxic is really fun when you're 2 shots deep.
Okay. So he's got something to say about it. He's got Toxic as his vote.
Okay. All right. Do we feel like we have it?
I think moves on for sure.
All right.
And at this point, we're still deciding between Toxic and Lose Yourself. But Lose Yourself, I'd say, would have us. I don't even know if Lose Yourself has a slight advantage.
I don't know. I think it's so split here. I'm really surprised about how many. I really thought this is a sports station. We have sports fans. Lose Yourself has, such a sports narrative. I mean, it's about rap battles, but it's about battle and competition, which has a sports narrative to it. I expected Lose Yourself to be far and away, but there is a lot of Toxic coming in.
Yeah, and then a lot of people are no to Toxic in the bar, but they're still picking Toxic to win. It looks like most people are majority over low, but they have respect for low.
Yeah is in the championship.
Yeah is in the championship.
All right. Dylan, what do you think? You're reading through these two. Do you think we've got
I'm looking. I mean,
it's so split.
It is so split down the middle.
Any man bumping Toxic deserves to lose.
Toxic and Lose Yourself.
Lose Yourself is mad corny. Okay, I mean.
All right, man. I don't know what to do here. I don't know who to put forward. I don't want to put my own bias towards it here.
Wow.
We have a lot of Toxic guys. Like, I'm not even joking. There is a lot of Toxic. And I don't mean actual toxic people. I'm talking about Toxic as in Britney Toxic. Toxic was a banger. I think we got to put Toxic in the championship.
682, hot take here maybe. Lose Yourself is mad corny.
Here, I got Trevor Beck here. Trevor Beck.
It does have a corny-nish to it a little bit. I don't hate it. I don't hate the opinion.
What do
Trevor,
we got?
Toxic
Still
or
love
Lose
the
Yourself?
song.
Oh, Toxic all day, every day.
Oh, ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Toxic, you're slipping under. Taste of a poison paradise.
See,
Bro, I will sing that
Here we go.
in the car all day, all night. You put me in a club, Trevor's taking his shirt off.
Uh-oh. Now we got people saying Lose Yourself over Toxic every day. If Britney loses to Eminem, then this whole thing, wash.
I don't know. I don't know. Lose Yourself once you get 3, 4, 5 drinks deep in the club and it's 1 a.m. I think even the ladies are going to bump out to that song. Yeah. Man. Well, it seems in the room we have Toxic, but I think on the, just lately in the last 2 minutes, it went, all right, we're going to put these all together. I'm going to try to come up with some sort of consensus here, and then we will finish this up with the top 2 next.
Let's do it.
Tired of GLP-1?
is also brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Plano, the on-time experts heating and plumbing, and by Base Power. Your one and only home of the Rangers is, 105.3 The Fan.
This final segment on 105.3 The Fan is brought to you by Classic Chevrolet. If you're in the market to upgrade your vehicle, get to Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine, #1 Chevy dealership in the world, 3 years straight. They've got more new Chevys than anyone, all priced to sell. Visit ClassicChevrolet.com. This is Texas. This is Classic Chevrolet. Together, let's drive, relax, and enjoy the difference. Based on new Chevy registrations 2023 through 2025.
Great work today, Dylan Moore. And a tough day, because that was a lot. Putting that all together was not an easy task back there in the Pimp Cup, and you did very well. Will Chambers, Eric Caceres. One final time before we give way to Rangers baseball right here on your home of the Texas Rangers as they take on the Mariners today, live from Surprise. That'll be at 2 o'clock. Jacob Lutz on the mound for the Rangers. All right. We had so many. Well, first, I think we all came to the agreement that is the ultimate winner.
Yes, based on majority vote and just classic.
Is the winner.
Is the winner.
We were unable. There were so many texts that came through, and appreciate you Tolos weighing in on this, on the Frankel and Frankel Injury Attorneys fan text, that it seemed it was too split. It was just too split. So we had a Tolo that had texted in for the 972. Great way to settle this. Take 3 calls to decide it. Dylan's literally going to answer the phone, and we're going to put you on because we could not come to a consensus of counting these votes between Lose Yourself Eminem and Toxic Britney Spears. So 877-881-1053. Call. We'll take 3 calls, and the first 1 to 2 votes is going to win it.
It's in the Tolo's hands. And hey,
it is in your hands.
There's been people on the text line that thinks that Eminem has already lost to Britney. It's not over yet. It ain't over yet.
We couldn't. We're all going through it going, it is too split.
That's why we're doing this. Let's hear it.
With a lot of definitive opinions. So, all right. We're taking 3 calls. Before we get to those, a little update as to what's happening at Madison Square Gardens. We're in the third quarter between the Spurs and the Knicks. I thought leading into this one, Victor Wembanyama has been struggling offensively lately. And I heard this morning on SportsCenter, Tim McMahon was on and saying that, dealing with some fatigue, there's been lots of travel, all that. He's been dominant on the defensive end, but struggling a little bit offensively could be from some of that fatigue. But being in New York, they've been there a few days. He's not necessarily a nightlife guy that, being that it's the Mecca, it should be, might see some today. And I was like, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought we might see a big show. Wemby's been okay, I'm sure. Yeah. I bet. Yep, they're lit up. He's got 19 points and 10 rebounds as we're yet to hit the fourth quarter. But the Knicks ahead by 11, 69-58. So a big matchup in the NBA. We'll have Minnesota and Denver coming up later on ABC as well. The Mavericks in action tonight hosting the defending NBA champion Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. All right. We don't even know their names. Line 1. Whom are you voting for between Lose Yourself and Toxic?
Hey, this is Darren from Denton.
All right. All right, Darren.
Let's hear it.
At age 51, I recall going to the 2004 NCAA tournament and the AAC Big 12, and every cheerleader dance routine was the Toxic. So that is my official vote, Toxic.
Okay.
Boom.
All right. Thank you, Darren from Denton. That is 1 for Toxic. And to any of you, one listener in particular that's out there listening, I am not screening these calls. I am not trying to sway this in any way whatsoever. We are just taking them and putting them on. All right. Line 2. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hey, black guy from South 6, Texas.
Love it.
4 kids and married. Listen, out of the 2 songs, I gotta admit, Toxic hits harder.
But
the vote is for Toxic.
Oh, there's no but.
I thought there was a but in there.
Yeah,
no
it sounded
but.
like no but.
No, Toxic. Period.
Wow. Shots fired.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. We'll take the third call. Toxic is your winner. I did not sway this. All right, line 3. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you voting on?
Hey, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Hey, this is Wade from Lucas.
All right, Wade. Thanks for hopping on.
I was going to vote for Lose Yourself only because there were no guys in high school that were banging Britney in the parking lot after school.
That's not what the text line's saying.
Well, in the parking lot, I mean, I would have to say I agree with you there. Not that I was in high school, I was in
Lose
college.
Yourself was a cultural phenomenon. Britney's
I agree with that.
Toxic was one of her compilation.
Okay. All right.
We
Well, I
got
appreciate it,
some
Wade.
women in
All
there.
right, so but it's over by a 2-1 margin. Britney Spears' Toxic defeats Eminem's Lose Yourself.
Ring the bell. Hit it, Black Adam.
And this video, that bodysuit that she's wearing, man, it was it. It was all the things. Hey, all right, like I said, I was
shoot the
taking out my head.
messengers.
It was don't shoot the messengers. It is what it is. Headed out there. I told his weight in, but it was remarkable how absolutely wild this was. Now, I do say that Eric, your mother, Chris.
Oh, yeah, shout out.
Yeah, she's well on this side as well. Toxic. Britney B.
And my dad did vote for Eminem, but he also said that he respects Britney. So everybody can, at least for the majority of the consensus, is that it's either one or the other, or I hate one. But some people are saying that I respect both. It's a classic, so I like that.
The 682, y'all really about to make me run out of my daughter's basketball game to vote for Toxic.
No needed now.
Yeah. 48-year-old black guy here. Lose Yourself was not getting played in our clubs at all. Clubs. Gigi's, Blue, Park Avenue, Nairobi's, Rack Daddy's, and so on. Was never played, but heard Britney in every damn department store I went to with my girlfriend. LOL, LOL. Yeah. Oh, man. I may be losing my girlfriend to Wade. That may be happening.
Here we go.
That may be breaking news.
From the 903, my hot take. Lose Yourself is overrated, and Eminem's worst hit, Toxic Every Day.
Okay.
Going bold there.
It was a little on the campy side, a little bit, but I still love it. It's an incredible song. And, man, I remember when it came out, like when I was in, there was a long time I was in my heavy running days. That was definitely one where I'm starting to get tired.
Yeah.
You know, I've gotten past, like the 4. I'm not one of those, long distance runners. I'd run, like 5 miles. But as we're getting to mile 3, north of 3.5 miles, I'd be going to Lose Yourself at that point.
Fair enough.
Toxic would have probably been early stages there getting going.
And
but when I really need to get myself revved back up, it would have been Lose Yourself.
And the craziest part about this whole thing is that this was even a winner. This is runner-up because Yeah won.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah by Usher is the champ. They're the March Madness champ.
No doubt. But we had more discussion and more controversy around that than we had even votes for Yeah. But Yeah was definitely the takeaway winner.
Yeah, thanks for playing that, Dylan, because, we can't... You got to address the elephant in the room. We got to give respect to the champ.
I am low-key terrified of the incoming M diss track. Somewhere Bobby Belt is working on that right now. No doubt about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Dylan. That was awesome. That
Great
was fun.
stuff there. I'm having mom's spaghetti now because Eminem lost. Yeah. But, I'll take Eminem's catalog all day.
Oh, yeah, as an artist?
Outstanding. Yeah.
As an artist, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just the song.
So there you go. Okay. Great stuff today. A little bit of a switch up. This will be the last time I'm on Sundays. Actually, we move into Saturday mornings. I'm really, it's been great working with you, and how many years I have been working with the great Chris Arnold. And I am so pumped because Fred Davis, I've been such a fan of his. I like him as a dude, a friend. We got into that huge argument over the catch, non-catch in the AFC Championship game. We will be taking over on Saturday mornings. So, and then you'll be with CA, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll be with Fred a couple times on Sundays as well.
There you go. All right, we're out of here. Rangers baseball's next.
Our goal is to have you winning every sports debate with your buds. We'll do the